You guys, what up? It's the kid, 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 man. We are back in here for this lovely Saturday open hangout, man. Here for the Saturday open hangout. So again, we have sort of two main topics that we're going to try and discuss and dissect. Then obviously after we're done with those two main topics, we'll then take whatever questions we have from the live show people in the live chat, and also maybe come up with some other things that are sort of in my mind, different things that may be in the news and so forth. So before we really do because I think our main topic is having a recap and a real discussion on the De Bruyne Pogba battle, and also just talk about De Bruyne and Pogba, just so I can give my views on that per se. So before we go there, let's just first deal with some house. So Bundesliga have already been back in training, and there is a feeling that we may see the Bundesliga make a return sometime next month. So they may make a return sometime next month. And now we're hearing that Arsenal are now maybe thinking of going back into training, but of course keeping in line with COVID-19 health measures and so forth. So the question is, should we be excited? Well, we're not really excited, but should we not be feeling much more optimistic that we may potentially see the league actually return in June? Because if we say give teams a month of training, so give them May to train, get back to fitness, and then June we have games behind closed doors, or do you still think it's maybe far too risky for us to really restart this? If somebody gets infected again, how could that then evolve? So come first to Jamal. So Jamal, do you think that it is maybe too soon for leagues and so forth to get back into training, or do you think it is the right time for us to kind of restart things?
Yeah, it's complicated because the football fan saying that how it should be, they should be in training now, that they should come back and train. But the person in me saying that how nah, it's too risky because there's still thousands of people dying. I hear today they say in America they say nearly 600 people died today. So
Mm.
yeah, it's kind of tricky because I actually want football back because it's I'm home here and I'm bored. It's not nothing to do. So of course I want it back, but then again you have to study. Is it risky? If somebody get they'll have to call off the Premier League again, and next thing they might void it. So I don't know, man. I still wait for about August, July. That's me.
So okay. So are you leaning more towards let's get back into football ban closures, or are you leaning more towards let's just wait and chill?
Well, yeah, well, I love football, so I
Mm.
lean in more on yeah. Let's let the football start in May or June.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Um, Mr. Azure King. So Azure King, then
Hello?
how are you viewing this? Then do you think that maybe we could be closer to getting the Premier League and the major leagues back, or do you think that it's too soon to sort of rush things?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay, so in my opinion, this whole thing is like an injury, and when somebody's injured, you never really want to rush them back because you want to make sure that they're fully fit. So with Germany, and if it's possible, if it's okay, if the government and the scientists and the people who know more about the virus, they okay, you can, then they should allow it. But if it's skeptical and they think like no, it might spread again or it might be in the situation again, then just don't rush it. As much as I love football, I would prefer everything to come back safely and then we can just continue from there and just have a lot of matches and we can enjoy it. Then we try to rush it back and then it gets worse again because you wouldn't want this happen a second time.
Okay, okay. So you're more on the page of being cautious.
Patience, yes, patience.
Okay. So Ali Osman, what about you? I mean, where do you stand on this? Do you think that we are rushing things, or which we should wait? Where are you on this?
For me, there's too many complications because imagine football does come back and someone gets the coronavirus, or players go on strike because they don't want to risk their health.
Mm.
There's too many complications if we bring football back. I think maybe we should wait until there's a solution, and then we think about bringing back football, because if we bring back football right now, like, there's too many complications. What are you gonna do if one player gets the virus and then he infects it to all the other his teammates, and then the whole team gets the coronavirus? What, is that team not allowed to play anymore? Well, like, it makes no sense.
So you're saying that even if they take the right measures to try and be safe and so forth, you still think that it's still a risk, even if they try and go behind closed doors, swab testing, blood samples, temperature testing. You think even if they go through all the tests and so forth to try and remain safe, it's still risky?
Yeah, because those tests won't stop someone from getting it. Imagine someone gets it not from football. Maybe he meets someone from outside, he gets the coronavirus, and before he's tested, he passes it on to more of his teammates. Yeah. And then once the team is tested, lots of the team has the coronavirus. What, are these players not allowed to play now? And now that team has a disadvantage, if you get what I'm saying. It makes no sense for me.
Okay. LB, where do you stand on this, LB?
Yeah, look, like what Jamal and everyone else was saying, it is complicated. With Europe being, this whole epicenter of the COVID-19 over the last couple of months, I personally don't think it would be the greatest idea. Look, I love the optimism, and we've all acknowledged the fact that we love football and we have missed it over the last couple of months. But this whole thing could backfire, and a second wave may sort of come about. So I think sacrificing half a season is worth saving as many lives as possible. So yeah, that's my opinion.
Okay. Janovan, man, thoughts on this? Janovan? All right. Stodge, thoughts on this?
Oh, I can't wait for the season to restart. Good news. Yeah, I think people are going to be going back to work in about 4 weeks or something anyway. So if people are going back to work, you might as well let the footballers play. And plus, athletes are lower risk than other normal people. The normal people, they're very fit, so they're low risk anyway. And plus, the games are going to be behind closed doors, so they're not going to spread it that much. Yeah, it'll be great. 2 more games to win the league.
Okay, so you think that it is worth the risk? So let's just say worst case scenario. Again, this worst case scenario, if it doesn't happen. Well, let's just say, for instance, okay, boom. The assumption is, okay, these are athletes, they should be all right. But what if you have a scenario where we now go through, someone gets infected and they get seriously ill, and you now have a lot of people being infected, and then they then get seriously ill. So you now have our players and many players now sort of in hospital because they are seriously ill.
Yeah, but I don't really think like the first, if it restarts, I don't think it's going to come from football, because I know by the time football starts, people will be going back to work anyway.
But do you know that as a fact? So see, people have said in England mid-May is optimistic. So this whole 4-week thing, that's just being optimistic. But do you know as a fact that in 4 weeks everyone will be back to work? That's not a fact.
Okay, obviously there's no such thing as fact, but I'll say the probability is quite high because money rules everything. We live in a capitalist society. They're not just going to let the economy drop. I mean, in the United States, it's like there's a lot of people dying, and they're already talking about reopening certain states and stuff, and people going back. Exactly. So if people are going back to work, then football, it normally has to restart. And plus, the Premier League. Listen, the Eredivisie got cancelled. I think their TV license something like 90 million. The TV, right, and the deals that the Premier League have. I remember earlier on when the news came out of the coronavirus, they've actually threatened the Premier League that they could potentially sue them. And the Premier League has the highest TV license in the world. I mean, it's borderline matching the NBA. So they don't want to take that to court, as well as already the economic stuff and the troubles they're having already. So I think money rules all, and in the end, they'll just be forced to, play and finish the season off.
And the scary thing is, I think the Premier League will risk it for the money. I feel the Premier League might start early, and I think somebody might get affected. That's just me.
No. Again, that's always the danger, that if someone gets affected and seriously affected, that could then be problematic. So, all right, San Maya, man, what do you stand on this? That do you think that we should really go ahead to restart games, or do you think that it's too risky to put people even behind closed doors?
We shouldn't. As much as I love football to come back, I think it's just too early to start the season. I think in May, and then players can risk like getting affected and getting the coronavirus. I just think it's too risky. Yeah, it's definitely not worth the risk.
Okay. So before I come to Red Devil, let me just take this thing here. So no name, thank you for super chats. KDB versus Pogba was bad. Abdullahi is a bad debate. So we will get there. We will get there. Don't worry. We will get there. We will discuss, because I've got things to say. So Red Devil Studio, we already know your the experts on this and so forth. So just late into, so you can just sort of give us the proper kind of expertise on this. Is that, look, man, they're saying that Arsenal are due to get back into training. That people, if they can follow the guidelines and so forth, we can get back, because there's this narrative, which I find a bit iffy, that if we bring back the Premier League, it can lift the morale of the nation. And my thing is that, so what is the priority? People's safety or boosting the morale of the nation? What is the point of boosting the morale if there are players who are in hospital, if they are sick? So in your view then, do you think that if there are medical things in place in order to really ensure the safety of these players, we should go full steam ahead? Because then, just this whole caveat as well, like I was reading for the Syria, they've said that they're thinking of, again, doing this with having samples and so forth and protective gear. And they've said, you know what? They are going to now donate bits of this gear to the public, because they don't want football to sort of hog and take most of these resources. So where do you stand on this then?
I mean, I think that, like, obviously, a lot of this is, I think, has come, this sort of push now has come from what's going on in Germany, the Bundesliga, because obviously the Bundesliga said they're basically aiming to sort of restart from around like May the 9th. That's what they're about. But obviously the context of that is how Germany have basically dealt with the whole coronavirus crisis. The German government, the way they've been able to deal with things has been a lot better than a lot of other parts in Europe, including the United Kingdom, which, in my opinion, we didn't really handle the situation as best as we should have. In relation to sort of things, obviously starting back onto the health, people obviously need to bear in mind the fact that, like, I think the problem that people always forget is that it's not just footballers. Okay, like it's coaching staff, it's managers, it's physios. Like, it's not just athletes that are coming back. So it's a whole contingent of people that are coming back. So the idea that sometimes that we can just kind of quarantine or get medics around is difficult, because there are a lot of people that are going to be involved in football. Obviously, the journalists that are going to be there to cover the games, the conferences, etc. And a lot of those people may not necessarily be healthy. I mean, as I spoke to you, I think, previously about like you look, let's say Crystal Palace. How old do you think Roy Hodgson is? He's 70 years old. He's already by default in a high risk category because he's 70. So there are more people than just the footballers that are going to be involved, that are going to be exposed. Now, we can see by obviously the daily report. Go on.
Maybe before you go there, but what they could say though is that, okay, people like Roy Hodgson, you can sort of virtually manage. So you can sort of have like the TV screen and basically Zoom in or video conferencing during the halftime team talk or the pregame team talk. So you don't actually have to be there to do the coaching. But then I don't know how well that would work though. But
the big thing is for me right now is that from what the impression I'm getting from UEFA and also from the Premier League is that they want the season to be finished, and they've set relative deadlines. So they haven't sort of come out and said we'll just finish the season whenever it's safe. There's the general feeling, so UEFA said we want all European competitions finished by Champions League by like the end of August, and the Premier League, it seems they want things done by the end of June. So the appetite is that things don't want to be extended beyond September. So when you think of that is the sort of the deadline, then if we're thinking, right, the Premier League basically want the season ended by June. Well, obviously our lockdown is essentially extended for another 3 weeks, so things aren't going to be resuming to normal, in quote, from the middle of May. As a lot of people already said, the players need time to get back to fitness, at least 3 weeks to a month, to get to match sharpness, etc.
So they need like a month here.
Exactly. So by the time that we're actually starting to play football, let's assuming that the lockdown things go back to, in quote, by mid-May, which is when the governor said, football won't be resuming until the middle of June, right? So this is all assuming that obviously we're not going to be getting, the curve is going to continue on the downward trend. There's not going to be a second peak, etc. It's an assumption. So if we assume everything is okay, football isn't going to be back playing until mid-June at the earliest, and the league needs to be concluded by the end of June, beginning of July. So this is where I kind of it's tricky, So, and I think that it's very optimistic, bearing in mind obviously Europa League competition, not to mention obviously the reality of the transfer window and various other things that's actually going to happen. Hopefully it will be, but it's assuming that everything works in contingent, and as you said, that no one actually picks up, because if someone does pick up a coronavirus, if someone does become unwell with it, then questions will be answered, and things will stop. So, it's tenuous position right now. That's basically my 2 cents.
Okay, so look, I mean, we'll see, and we'll monitor how this all goes. But we just have to see what happens. Again, for me, I just say do not be too over optimistic, because I think safety should be first. We all want football to be back, but I think safety should always win through above football or anything. So now let me just kick things off here now. I thought it was a really good debate. It was a really good debate. Now the streets have given the W to Vas. I think that even if Abdullahi sometimes missed the points that was being made in terms of the criteria, I still feel like if Abdullahi still made more critical points, and Vas gave me too many stats and not enough actual true context with what he was doing. It was just giving me numbers. You can't all the way through. So don't worry, Jamal, I'll come to that. So basically my thing here is this, and we'll discuss this, is that Pogba overall is the better player. He simply is. Doesn't mean that De Bruyne isn't a great player, but De Bruyne is a role player. I don't call De Bruyne an exceptional footballing talent. He simply isn't. He's not a guy who into any storage. Just chill. Man, I heard that side from flipping Mars, man. He's not a guy that you can drop into any team and can roll through. He doesn't have the varied skill set, all the versatility that Pogba has. And even when we had a thing of overall ability, Vas was giving me these numbers that they have no head or tail. These numbers have no head or tail, because you have to explain to me using the eye test and footage of how De Bruyne has better overall ability than Pogba, and he couldn't. Same thing with versatility, he couldn't. Okay, De Bruyne never really played as a classic winger. Dude is either a cam or a cross matches. Now, let me just be clear here. De Bruyne is a very good player. I would be stupid if I came out and said, "Oh, De Bruyne is crap or he's garbage, man." But he is slightly overrated. And you see, what I don't get is that people are calling this dude one of the best midfielders in the world, when most of his great work has been done in the Premier League. He's never been to a Champions League final, has never been to a Europa League final, has never been to a Euro final, has never been to a World Cup final. And I cannot give you a Champions League semi, a World Cup semi, or a Euro semi where he was truly outstanding, or he's done a truly outstanding thing. But he's supposed to be a great midfielder. Boggles the mind. Pogba, people have to understand that Pogba, he plays for a struggling United team. A struggling United team. As we all established with Wolfsburg, Wolfsburg still managed to defeat Real Madrid in the Champions League without De Bruyne. So how good was De Bruyne? Really, how important was De Bruyne to Wolfsburg if they could already defeat Real Madrid, and Real Madrid had to rely on a Cristiano hat trick to get past Wolfsburg? So that Wolfsburg team was already good. De Bruyne just made them better, but was already a good team. De Bruyne cannot elevate an average team. Pogba can elevate an average team, and I think that is the key difference. De Bruyne in an average team is useless, but in a really good team, he can make them amazing. So, Jamal, where do you stand on this whole De Bruyne Pogba thing, man?
Yeah, for me, De Bruyne it's just consistency. De Bruyne more consistent over a season, but like in a knockout competition, Pogba is a guy. So that's how I say De Bruyne is looks better in a system because over a 58 game season, you'll get more output from De Bruyne. But like if you want knockout system, because Pogba, his game is built around in world class individual performances. What I mean by that is like for semi-finals, finals, Pogba is a guy, but for like a whole season, De Bruyne are more consistent because I don't think Pogba is consistent as De Bruyne.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you think that De Bruyne defeats Pogba based on De Bruyne being much more consistent?
Yeah, no, I say De Bruyne is a better player for like a season. But like if you want like knockouts, FA Cup, European Cup, World Cup, Pogba is better because what Pogba can do is he have world class moments which
Okay,
can win a game.
so basically you said over a season you take the De Bruyne in a big time
Yeah,
game, you take a Pogba in a one-off big time game.
yeah.
Okay, all right. Ali Osman, where do you stand on this, bro?
For me, both categories in terms of trophies and in terms of ability, Pogba beats De Bruyne. Let's look at ability first. Dribbling. When Pogba dribbles, he reminds me of Yaya Toure. The way he runs through the midfield from deep. It reminds me of a Yaya Toure. His passing range is also much better than Kevin De Bruyne. Kevin De Bruyne at the edge of the box, he's amazing. We can't deny that. But Pogba has a better passing range. At the edge of the box, he can pass right in his own half. He can spray a ball. He can pass. Like his passing range is
He can
way
hit
more
passes from deep in the midfield, all that stuff.
100%. His passing range is way more complete. I don't see Kevin De Bruyne passing from deep. He has a good pass from the edge of the box, a good through ball, a decent cross, but Pogba can do all of it. Like he has a much more complete passing range. Shooting, yeah, goal scoring. You can look at that stats yourself. Pogba scores way more than Kevin De Bruyne. De Bruyne scores like 4 or 5 a season. Pogba last season, I swear he scored like 10 goals in the league. With Juventus, he used to score like 10 goals a season from a midfield position. And also, for me, Pogba, he's a much more complete midfielder. He can play in all midfield positions. He can play as a deep line playmaker. He can play as a box-to-box midfielder. He can play as a number 10 if you want him to. I don't think you can use the
people are questioning. He said that's passing range Pogba better. So people are questioning you saying that Pogba has better passing range.
100%. I'm 100%. You could say maybe De Bruyne has a better pass when at the edge of the box making a through ball, but in terms of passing range, the Pogba has a better passing range. He can do all types of passes. So I think that's why Pogba has a better passing range than Kevin De Bruyne.
Okay. So let me ask you this. So
Some
why?
of the passes that Pogba does, I don't see.
Okay. So let me ask you this.
Yeah.
So why is there such why is this notion that people believe that it's not even a competition? Why do people believe so much that De Bruyne is easily a better player than Pogba? Where do you think this comes from?
For me, I don't even know. For me, Pogba throughout his career, he's done it. Even at United, yeah. People say he's flopped at United, but no. For me, I think he's performed at United. Well, I think it's just that the team around him has been awful. I remember watching a video of Paul Pogba in his first season. I was watching a passing compilation of Paul Pogba in his first season, yeah. And oh my god, that video of Pogba was passing shows how bad of a striker Zlatan was. Yeah, Zlatan was a flop at United. He made Pogba look bad in that first season. I was watching that video, and the amount of chances that Pogba created for him and Zlatan flopped. Bro, that made Pogba look bad. Pogba, he always produces. He always made those passes. He always created chances for the team. but it's always that the team around him ain't good enough, and that makes him look bad.
Because this is a point that people overlook, is that people always bring up assists. But my thing, though, is that the strikers you have and the finishers are very key. Because if you're creating for a break, you won't start padding anybody. But if you're creating to a guy who has excellent movement and great finishing, you will always be put in a very strong position. So basically, just round off your point so I can go to the next person. Just round off your point.
Basically, Pogba, in terms of ability, he's a more complete player. He can dribble. He's a better dribbler, passer, scoring. And also, in terms of trophies, he's won the World Cup, multiple Serie A trophies, Europa League. Yeah, so in both categories, Pogba beats De Bruyne for me.
Okay. Because again, my main thing is I just question KDB's big game mentality. I don't know whether as an individual, KDB will rise to the occasion and as an individual come up trumps for me in a big game, critical game. I don't think he can. I don't think he has the mentality to do that. I think he has to be within a great functioning team and just play his role.
But Pogba is semi-final of World Cup final and also Europa League final, scored goals. Like he's a big game player.
Okay. So San Maya, man, where do you stand on this whole De Bruyne Pogba thing?
So I think Pogba and Kevin De Bruyne are different players. Pogba is more of a central midfielder, and De Bruyne is more of like a cam, number 10. If we are comparing their overall career, Pogba beats Kevin De Bruyne because Pogba has a World Cup. He's been to a Champions League final. He's been to a Euro 16 final, I think. And I think Pogba is more talented than De Bruyne. But I think it's also fair to say that Kevin De Bruyne from the past 3 years has been outperforming Pogba. Yes, Pogba has been playing for a very weak Man United team, but Kevin De Bruyne has been very consistent since the day he joined Man City. He elevated that team, and he was literally the best player for Tottenham. On the other hand...
Okay, but Samuel, let me ask you this then. At any point during Pogba with Man City, were any of De Bruyne's Man City teams as bad as the team that United have now with Pogba?
No. Man City team is much better.
Okay. So my point there is, now again, I'm not trying to take anything away from De Bruyne and so forth, but as an individual, you have to do far more if you're in a weaker team.
Yes,
we all saw what Pogba did for Juventus. That's why people were talking about Pogba as one of the best players in the world, because Pogba was amazing for Juventus, because that was a very good team. So, but then, and this is what I always say, and this may be something that people should look upon. Let's switch it. How well would Pogba do at Man City? And how well would De Bruyne do at Man United? So how well would Pogba do under this Man City team, under either Pellegrini or Pep Guardiola? Or how well would De Bruyne have done under the last few years of Fergie and how well would he have done under Mourinho? Basically, during Pogba's tenure, how well would he have done under Mourinho?
Yeah.
So that's something you have to think about.
Yeah, I get that, but I agree. Pogba is more talented than De Bruyne, but I think Pogba made a wrong choice to go back to Man United, and this has led me to believe that De Bruyne has been...
Mourinho got rid of him.
Oh, sorry. Let me just mute that. Go for it.
Okay. Yeah, Pogba might have made a bad choice to join Man United, which is why I have to judge Pogba by his performance at Man United, and by comparing Pogba's Man United performance with De Bruyne's performance at Man City, I think De Bruyne for the last 2-3 years has been better.
But if you're to take them in a vacuum, both individuals in a vacuum, who would you say is the better player in a vacuum?
Pogba, definitely Pogba.
Okay. Before I go to LB, let me just hit the super chat. So from Andash3 says, HH, you used to need to get your best debater for Salah in the debates v Mane. I'm ready to go.
I'll destroy Mane.
and represents LDO. Be neutral in moderating. We will sort it out. We will sort out. Don't worry, man. We will make it happen, bro. We will make it happen. We'll make this happen very soon, man. Don't worry. LB, where do you stand on this? De Bruyne or Pogba? Who's the better dude?
I would say the more overall rounded player would be Paul Pogba. As what was mentioned before, he's more of a sort of I'd say a versatile player who is a box-to-box midfielder, and I'd also say his defensive ability gives him the upper hand, in my opinion. And look, I reckon Paul Pogba has also proved himself at the highest level as well at the World Cup in 2018, because let's not forget he wasn't just a part of the team. He actually contributed to the win against Croatia by kicking a goal, and even in the lead up to the final, he was a very important, if not the most important player. Whereas Kevin De Bruyne, yes, he did score the winner against Brazil in the quarter-final, but where was he in the semi-final against France when they were able to shut not just him down, but the rest of the Belgian team? As you were saying, Paul Pogba is playing in a struggling team that has been trying to keep away from relegation over the last couple of seasons, and he's also played in a UCL final in 2015 with Juventus as well. So I reckon Paul Pogba is the more rounded, overall better player in my opinion.
Okay. So boxing guy, where do you stand on this whole thing? Pogba or De Bruyne?
Paul Pogba overall is the better player. And guys, let's be honest, guys. If Pogba had stayed at Juventus, would this even be a debate?
It wouldn't. And I was one of the few guys that said Pogba should have stayed at Juventus. He should have stayed at Juventus. Like it makes a big difference if you are in a great team. It makes a huge difference if you're in a great team. It makes a huge difference if you're in a team that's had 100 points one season and 98 points without you. Like people always forget that point. Again, I'm not hating on De Bruyne, but Man City won the league with 98 points without De Bruyne for a large part of the season. Right, boxing the goal. Carry on.
Yes. The only reason that people say De Bruyne is better than Pogba is because Pogba's been playing with a shit team with midfielders like Matic, McTominay. Like, can you compare the quality of the midfielders of United to City? I mean, De Bruyne has Gundogan, David Silva, Fernandinho. He has world-class players around him, and he plays in a good system. Look at Pogba. Like, he has to create for breaks. Lukaku, like, the amount of sitters that guy missed. So, like, yeah, all I'm saying is,
De Bruyne. Okay, so why do people have this notion that De Bruyne is a far better player than Pogba? Where do you think that comes from?
I think De Bruyne's consistency at Man City is amazing. I'll give that to him. And when you're playing in a team full of superstars and you have your specific role, and when the system of the team supports the way you play, like, obviously you will shine. So people get the notion that De Bruyne is better than Pogba because De Bruyne fits in the Man City system. Like, put De Bruyne in United and put Pogba in Man City. Would De Bruyne be as consistent as he was at City with United?
That's the key point. All right. So before I come to Sturgeon, now this is funny. Pogba will always be remembered as a failure. Now, guys, I don't understand how scoring in a World Cup final and winning the World Cup is a failure. Someone needs to explain that to me. I don't understand how, as an individual, scoring a World Cup final, being one of the best players on the pitch, and winning the World Cup with France, I don't understand how that's a failure. But I'm sure Sturge will try to explain this to me. So, Sturge, Pogba or De Bruyne, man, who's the better player?
De Bruyne is the better player. Pogba is nothing more than a YouTube footballer. This dude is the bum of bums. He is a nothing player. And these people saying he's playing amongst bums in United. Let's get this straight. In the first leg against PSG, Pogba was playing. They got absolutely demolished. And then guess what happened in the second leg? McTominay and Fred outperformed Pogba. Pogba!
Oh no. Okay.
He's good for marketing. The man's a marketer. He's a
marketer.
He's a marketer, mate. He's a marketer. He's not good for nothing. And people saying it's funny because he left Juventus. He was carried by Vidal and Pirlo. He wasn't even the fifth best player on the team. Bonucci, Chiellini, Tevez were all better, more important players.
Okay.
You know, Tevez that season was a beast. If you want to debate that, we can debate that anytime.
No. We can't because Touch. I don't think you really watched.
Wait. Let's keep going. Let's keep going.
Let's
keep going. He played like 2 out of 6 in the Champions League final. In the Champions League final, it was one of the worst performances I've ever seen from a midfielder in history. The dude was anonymous. He got like one deflected pass. He was so bad. He was awful. Right, and it wasn't exactly a strong. It wasn't exactly a strong Barcelona midfield, was it? Because that team was all based on MSN, and he looked lost. He looked lost in the Euro final. He looked lost as a child. He's been constantly getting outperformed by Griezmann at every World Cup, every international stage. But people call him a bum. And let's get to United. There hasn't been a single moment. Wait. I'm going. I'm still going. There hasn't been a single moment at United where I've ever thought Pogba's not playing, United's performances have dropped. For whatever reason, United somehow managed to maintain the exact same position, whether he's playing or not. United have signed players worth hundreds and hundreds of millions, right, to support this guy. He's done absolutely nothing because he's a bum. His career was carried by 2 great midfielders at France, great players in France, and great players at Juventus. And once again, let me disprove one more thing. He was a flop at United initially. Sir Alex sent him off. Let's not forget that. So if you want to bring the argument for De Bruyne, don't forget this dude was a flop also. Let's not also forget this. So Juventus, you leave, they win every single title. They go to a Champions League final again. So you didn't matter. You made no difference. You were just great profit. You were just another player. They showed it. They proved it. They didn't need you. They made your career, they made your name, and then United took you over the top with marketing and YouTube highlights such as Pogba. Listen, I don't remember the last time this guy had a full 90 performance. People talk about his 2 goals against Man City, but that wasn't exactly a great midfielding performance. Yes, he scored goals, but it wasn't amazing, was it?
But Sturge,
No, I'm going to keep on going. And this one thing you said Vass didn't hit you with any facts. You said Vass didn't hit you with any facts.
Yeah, no, he didn't.
Vass once proved to me this dude is a complete YouTube player. The stat they hit me was the guy completes around 2 dribbles a game, and then he gets dispossessed more. So you mean to tell me this great dribbler, this midfielder, he's a midfielder as well, he gets dispossessed more times than he actually completely dribbles. Do you know how average of a dribbler you have to be to get this? He's a YouTube footballer. He does a few skills. People get hyped. But at the end of the day, when the games are happening, you're getting dispossessed more times than you complete a dribble. Easily. And let me disapprove another thing. You said De Bruyne didn't matter last season in City's titles race. Correct me if I'm wrong. When De Bruyne was injured, I'm pretty sure Liverpool were ahead of City in the title race. But guess what? De Bruyne came back and they won the title. Essentially, when this guy came back on the pitch, they won it. When he wasn't on the pitch, they were behind Man City. They were behind Liverpool. So come with better facts.
For the multitude of the season, he wasn't there. They were still second.
Amassed they were still second.
The season.
They were still second.
De Bruyne.
And he's not been injured this season either. And they're still
and as for Wolfsburg, the best they had was that year they finished second. Ever since then, they've been atrocious. That's the impact. That's the difference between De Bruyne. He leaves a team, they become average. Pogba leaves a team, they win every single title, go to a Champions League final. An absolute fraud, Pogba is.
Okay, so
let me just
hit the super chat and I'll give it to you. Let me just hit the super chat. So from No Name, he said, thank you for the super chat. Said bad team. Okay, why is Bruno playing better though? Even if he's playing better, it's still that United are still a struggling team. And for Bruno Fernandes, remember, let us see Bruno Fernandes have a full season first. He's playing well right now, but it's still a very small sample size. But let us see Bruno Fernandes. Let's see what he can do for a whole season, because I can give you a list of many players who had great 4, 5, 6 games, had garbage seasons through it. So until Bruno Fernandes can give me a season where he's amazing, then we can say, all right, this guy's big. So let's just have short-term memory. Red Devil Studio, hit it.
Okay, so what I want to at least do, let's just be honest, is at least just respond to, because I am obviously a United fan, and I so much for Paul Pogba. So there's certain things, not everything, but there's certain statements that are skewed. So the first thing I think, especially from that debate, was this whole idea of, oh well, Manchester United are just fine about Pogba. They still beat the other big teams. It's irrelevant. Okay, as someone who's watched Manchester United Football Club over the last 3 seasons, somewhat painfully so, what you need to understand, okay, is the way that Manchester United play. Okay, it's not just about individual players. Manchester United, certainly under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and to a certain extent at times under Mourinho, play in essentially a counter-attacking system, right? Okay, counter-attacking football is not difficult. Okay, if we look at the game against PSG, I'm trying to be objective here. PSG were flops. They threw the sort of game away. But I'm not going to be like naive and thinking that Manchester United went to Paris and outplayed PSG. We did not outplay PSG at all. At times we defended very, very deep, trying to waste time, and we capitalized on PSG's mistakes. I still think it was a great win.
Did you win?
Yeah, we won.
Wait, let him land.
But my point is this idea of people talking about playing better. Okay, when we actually look at the game of football, okay, Manchester United did not have a good game against PSG. We took our chances, okay, but we didn't play well. And this is important because the problem with Manchester United this season, certainly the last season, is not so much with the big teams, but it's with the little teams. So when you actually look at this season, look at the chances created, Pogba still creates about, this is statistics, 2.8 chances per game, which is still the most of any Manchester United player this season, despite him actually being injured. And that's including Bruno Fernandes, obviously, who's just come. The fact of the matter is that had United not signed Bruno Fernandes in January, because it was obvious to any Manchester United fan who needed an attacking midfielder, Manchester United would not be in 5th position. Let's be real here. If Manchester United did not sign Bruno Fernandes, Manchester United would be 10th, 12th, or 13th. So the argument of him sort of not being there, and United fans, all United fans would be saying, we need Pogba because we need someone to create chances. Without Pogba in the Manchester United side, we struggle. It's painfully obvious that we struggle to create chances. We didn't have the forward play, the clinical forward, the clinical finishers, or a semi-decent right wing. I mean, for goodness sake, come on. Man City have Leroy Sané, Raheem Sterling on the wing, and we have Jesse Lingard. And you're honestly telling me that our assist ratio isn't poor for a reason. Come on. The other thing you have to take into account is obviously we talk about the players around Paul Pogba. Fernandinho is one of the best central defensive midfielders in the world, if not at times when he's been at City, the best central defender in the world. And as someone who's played football quite a bit, when you have someone that good playing behind you, make sure that you don't have to worry about defending, your mentality changes.
Bro, there's no way one player keeps the whole midfield defending. Okay, there's no way one player can defend. But you can't say that De Bruyne has been carried.
Let me land though. Let me just finish. What I'm just saying is that mentally, okay, and I'm just going by my experiences playing football and other peers playing football, is that when I know that there is someone who is good in that position, I do not. It's not that I don't go back and I'm not saying De Bruyne does not go back and defend. What I am saying though is that when you have a season under Mourinho when Paul Pogba is having to play a centre back in 2 games, and that did actually happen, I'm now having to think about defending a lot more than I should be when Paul Pogba is better positioned as a box-to-box midfielder going forward. It's obvious as well, and any United fan watching Paul Pogba, that when Ander Herrera left, Paul Pogba also started to struggle as well. So I don't want to go on and on and on because obviously there's more to talk about this debate. But what I want to just sort of say is that the argument that seems to be repeated a lot of time that Manchester United are just a better team without Paul Pogba because they beat bigger teams disregards the amount of chances that Paul Pogba creates, our lack of creativity without Paul Pogba, which is painfully obvious, but also the fact that without him, we struggle to break down any of the small teams. It doesn't matter if we beat Manchester City and Liverpool in 2 games a season when you're losing to Bournemouth at home, Newcastle away, all these teams that we were losing to without having someone who could break down teams, and Paul Pogba could do that. So that's basically just sort of my brief 2 cents.
All right, Natsa, get us with your point, bro.
I've got one thing to say. That season when Pep and Mourinho got signed, you had this thing saying, "Oh, who would win the league?" People were saying it was between Manchester United and Manchester City. So I'm not going to take that crap. People saying De Bruyne came into a City team was good, already good, and the United team that was declining. People were saying United could have won the league with Mourinho. Okay, 2 managers, world-class managers came in.
No Manchester United fan thought that, but okay.
Yeah. What do you mean? I was seeing even the Manchester derby was so high that nobody thought Chelsea was going to do anything. People were saying it was between Mourinho and Pep. And then to say that City had a better team, we had Kolarov, we had Brodiano, Clichy, we had Iheanacho sometimes when Aguero was injured.
We had Phil Jones
that was declining. So
we had Phil Jones.
And that season, De Bruyne had the most assists in the league with 16. Okay, so you can't bring me that crap. De Bruyne performed in a bad team. He performed at Wolfsburg and he performed at a crap City team that finished 3rd. You can't bring me that crap. And then you say, let's not forget that free kick gig scored against Barcelona, where he carried us to into the knockout stages. You can't forget that.
Wait, so are you saying the City team was crap? A team that was Yaya Toure,
It was not as good as it is right now. For a Pep team, it was a crap team. That was one of the worst Pep teams ever, and you cannot deny that.
But obviously, in the context of the Premier League, like in the context of the Premier League, for a Pep team, fine as crap, yeah. But in the context of the Premier League, compared to all the other teams in that league, it was clearly a good team.
Yeah, so was United. You bought Pogba that season. You bought Mkhitaryan that season. Mkhitaryan was one of the best players in the Bundesliga.
With Phil Jones,
in hindsight, United team looks bad right now. But that time,
come on. No United fan quote back then would have been like, yeah, Phil Jones, Jesse Lingard, all those players are world-class dominating.
So you don't even know.
David De Gea, yes.
Okay, we're running out of the point right now, but I'm just saying, you say that De Bruyne is always in a good team and he's always been carried by these other good players he has in his team.
That's not what
Have you not watched him for Wolfsburg? He took them to 2nd place in I don't know how many years they didn't reach that position.
But what did Wolfsburg do?
Have you not watched?
But Natsa, what did Wolfsburg do without De Bruyne in the?
I don't care about that, but we're talking about Wolfsburg.
My point is not. That's not my point. Is that my argument for the whole thing was that this idea that Pogba is irrelevant to Manchester United, that Paul Pogba, that Manchester United are still a better team without Paul Pogba. That was my point. It's not just.
I think Stodge said it in a good way. He said when Pogba was playing, you're in the same position that you were last season. When in this season, and Bruno Fernandes came in, and he saw already what he was doing. I don't understand what people were saying. Pogba's the greatest. Pogba's not the greatest player.
Wait. Let me just quickly
jump in. Have you seen what?
Real quick. My thing here is this: is that now maybe I'm wrong, but I'll ask Natsa, who's obviously the Man City expert. I feel that the key reason City won those 2 titles was Raheem Sterling. Because
Raheem, let
me land.
Bro, I'm a City fan.
Let me just land. Let me just look at it, and you can respond. Let me land and you can respond. Let me just say my point, and then I will give you all the time in the world to respond. So we can hear so the people can hear what you are saying. We can't talk over each other. Now, my argument is this. I believe that Raheem Sterling was the key reason. Of course, it was a great team. Everyone played their role. But the standard key reason was the amount of times that Sterling came clutch and how good and effective he was for Man City. Is it any surprise that De Bruyne is still fully fit, but Sterling has had his worst season since he joined Man City? And look at how much worse City have done this season, where De Bruyne is still doing his thing. People are still saying
because he's not playing in his natural position. He plays at the right wing, but he's playing the left wing.
Let me land. People have said De Bruyne is one of the best midfielders in the world. He should win the PFA. But City are having one of their worst seasons. But Sterling, who has had his worst season, look at the effect it has had. So surely Sterling being good is more important for Man City than De Bruyne being good. What do you say to that?
Okay, look, I'm gonna say this. Okay, since the 2018-19 season, Sterling has been declining. Although he's been scoring goals, he was never doing the stuff that he was doing in that first season that we won the Premier League. He was not doing those kind of things. And without Leroy Sané playing the wings where they make everything awkward for the fullbacks, Sterling was never effective. And since he moved to that left wing position, he's not been the same. So I watch it every day. I know what Sterling does. I know 100%. He cannot take on players like Hazard does. He's always good at pacing that play in the right wing and coming to the box to find a cross or maybe score a tap in. So you making that point for De Bruyne being there, he's having his worst season is not. It's not. You can't say that. You can't say that. Plus, if you saw that first season, how many times De Bruyne that season when we won the league the first time, how many times De Bruyne set him up for tap-ins? You would go bonkers, bro. He set him up for so many tap-ins. So I don't know why you're trying to say Raheem Sterling is tapping like I can say myself. Raheem Sterling is one of the most overrated players I've ever put my eye on as a City fan as well.
I agree.
He is overrated. He's so overrated.
I agree.
Like he doesn't offer anything.
Who's overrated?
Come
on. Wait.
He is overrated, man.
Wait, that's a chill. Who did you say is overrated?
Sterling.
I agree.
Yes.
How can you not say he's overrated?
Okay, chill. Wait, let me just easy. Let me hit this super chat and then I'll get back to you. So, Primera Mamas, thank you for the super chat. It says that talk about Pogba's disaster class against Sevilla second leg round of 16. He was by far the worst player when he came on. Bro, it's one game. It's one game.
John Joe Shelby bust him in a game. John Joe Shelby.
George, relax, man. You're a hater. All right, Natsa, land.
Okay, let's go back to the Pogba. Forget the Sterling thing. Let's go back to the Pogba thing. Yeah. In the France team, what did Pogba have? He had Kante, and he had Matuidi next to him. Surprise, surprise! Pogba wins the World Cup. He needs good players in Juventus. What did he have?
World class.
No, he wasn't, but he was a good defensive midfielder, which gave him the opportunity to go forward. Same thing with Kante.
That was basically my point that I mentioned.
Pirlo, he had Pirlo and Vidal. But who did KDB have at Wolfsburg? Tell me. Draxler. Who else did he have?
Okay, don't.
Lucas Gustavo.
Okay, but
he carried him to the second place. Stop.
Okay, but Natsa, to your Wolfsburg point. Natsa, to your Wolfsburg point. 100%, he was amazing for Wolfsburg. He was amazing. But when he left Wolfsburg defeated Real Madrid in the first leg, and Real Madrid had to rely on a Cristiano Ronaldo hat-trick for them to get through Wolfsburg. So my point about Wolfsburg thing is that no, that was still a good team, and Peter Hecking was a very good manager and a very good coach.
Okay, how many of those players left? How many of those players left?
De Bruyne elevates good teams. De Bruyne ain't doing nothing for an average team because he is a role player. He's not an individual.
Okay. Name me 3 players that were very important last season for Wolfsburg. Except De Bruyne.
What's it called? Dost was important. I can't remember the name. The Swiss left back. I can't remember his name. It's
Rodriguez.
Okay. Where the hell are they now? Where are they now? Where are they now? If you look at the Monaco team, look what.
Was Draxler in that Wolfsburg team, or am I going crazy?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, but where are they now? You say it was a great team. Where are they now? I don't see any of those Wolfsburg players that were great. Bro, that De Bruyne carried that team. I'm not having that. De Bruyne carried that team.
Draxler's doing well.
Carried that team to what?
What's Draxler doing at PSG?
No one ever.
What's Draxler doing at PSG?
No one ever fully carries a team. Let's be real. Like, in
attacking sense, he did carry. They had a good system in that team. He had a good system in that team. But
he played a role. De Bruyne wasn't scoring 50 goals a season. He was there to assist and he was there to play a role. And again, it goes to my point. He is excellent for his system. Give De Bruyne, build your foundation, build your blueprints, build your machine, and inject De Bruyne into rolling that machine. He is going to be amazing. If your team isn't fully functional and it's not working,
okay, why do you call De Bruyne a system merchant when Pogba literally needs to help him?
Wait.
How is De Bruyne a system merchant when Pogba needs literally a team to help him win? Like he needs a midfield to help him play well.
I think
my
Like,
and
who does De
Hey
Bruyne
man,
have? David Silva.
okay, Natsa, if
He's
you
meant
make
to
a
help
point,
him play well.
wait. If you're asking me a question, let me respond. So you ask me a
Okay,
question,
okay.
let me respond. So
Respond.
the reason why I call De Bruyne a system merchant is because he needs a well-defined working system
So
for
does
him to
Pogba.
be effective.
So does Pogba.
When you look at whether it's Juventus,
Pogba hasn't played in a
this
working
United
system.
team,
Not true.
or even that French team, there are instances where Pogba is in a team that may not be fully functional, but him as an individual can create or pull out something out of nothing.
Yes.
And that is the key
He
thing.
wasn't even the best.
Wait.
midfielder in that.
Basically, the issue is this. Wait, the issue is
Modric and De Bruyne even outclassed
Just-
Pogba in that World Cup.
hey,
What did
Just
Pogba
look
do
at
in
his
that World
chance
Cup?
creation every season. He
basically,
always
Nasa,
performs.
I'm not a fan.
what
De Bruyne
Pogba
doesn't.
did in that Manchester derby in the second leg, De Bruyne isn't doing.
Kante outperformed him.
You know, he's
Okay.
he's doing that. You know, so basically, my thing about this is okay. Let's even go back on the De Bruyne thing because see, people have me twisted here. People have me twisted here. So let me just try and because I think some people may not have had a chance to talk. So let me just run through. So LL debates, is your mic working there? No, it's not working. As your king, is your mic working there, bro? As your king, is your mic working? Why common if your mic ain't working, man? This is guys are wild, man. So De Bruyne. Let me even change this whole thing to De Bruyne now. People seem to okay. First of all, this is what I find funny. People now have this notion that I'm racist against the white players, but last I checked, I believe Hazard is white and Zidane is white. So I have no idea. I have no personal issue with De Bruyne. I have none. And I'm never going to hate on De Bruyne. De Bruyne is a quality player. But De Bruyne is missing something. He's missing something. Because for you to really be talked about as, you know, you're really one of the elite and really one of the best in a position, you need to give me that iconic moment in a big, huge game. To this day, there isn't a Champions League final, a World Cup final, a Euro final, or whatsoever. Even a CL semi or a Euro semi, there isn't a major final, major semi where De Bruyne, Martin, you're wild, bro. There isn't a major final where De Bruyne has shown up and individually done something. I'm not seeing De Bruyne do what Eden Hazard did in that Europa League final, what Pogba did in that World Cup final, you know, what Mbappe did in that World Cup. I've not seen him do that. I've not seen him do those things, you know, or what Iniesta has done in numerous big games. So my thing is that yeah, he's got the skills, he's got the ability, and maybe I'm wrong, but from my assessment, I feel that based on all of his skills, De Bruyne isn't the kind of player in a tight game and in a difficult situation can individually come up with something to help you win the game in a difficult game. He has done it in big games within a Premier League season, like his goal against Chelsea. He's done it in a quarterfinal, like his goal against a Brazil and so forth. But he hasn't really shown up and be like, yeah, man. You see, I cannot give you that iconic De Bruyne performance, that iconic De Bruyne moment in a big game. I can't give it to you. So because he doesn't have that, I'm like, bro, we're waiting. De Bruyne hasn't done anything major in the Champions League. He hasn't. CL final, you haven't. And I was one of those guys that said, Man City, I think this was the year. When Liverpool went, I said, you know what, this is the year. And I felt that De Bruyne, you now have no excuses. There's no Liverpool. It's a pretty weak field. You have the ability right now to carry City all the way. You know, obviously they had to get through Real Madrid, which I think they would have in the second leg. So if they got rid of Real Madrid, the only guy standing in your way is probably either Juve or PSG. So you have no excuses right now to you be that critical dude and critical guy to say, what's up? What happened to De Bruyne in that Tottenham game where they needed him? They needed you, but you didn't pull through. When they needed Pogba to pull through in that United game against Man City, he pulled through in that second half and came clutch. When De Bruyne has been needed, when City have been down, where was he against Man United? in the Manchester derby this season at the Etihad. Where has he been? Where was he? So that's my thing. So Jamal, how do you assess this De Bruyne thing? Do you think I'm being too harsh on De Bruyne and he has already achieved great things already, or do you think that he still needs to achieve more to really prove himself?
Now I think you have a lot to achieve still, but the thing is,
Jamal, you need to up your mic. Your mic is quite low. You need to increase your mic volume. Your mic is quite low. Yeah.
Yeah, now?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, he have plenty to achieve. But the thing where you say where was he against Tottenham, I think he did get a hat-trick assist in that game. Plus, Sterling offside goal, I think he assisted that too. So you will get 4 if it wasn't for that. Yeah. De Bruyne, yeah, he need to do more. He need to do good in a UEFA semi-finals, UEFA Champions League semi-finals, so a UEFA Champions League final. In the World Cup too, a World Cup semi or World Cup final. But I think you can't hate on De Bruyne, man, because this season he's done everything. And I feel if Corona didn't mash up this season, I feel he will have ball. Because he did ball against Real Madrid in the Bernabeu. He scored, he get an assist, he balled. So I think this season, De Bruyne will answer all these haters, but Corona had other things. So yeah, I think this season, this will be De Bruyne here.
Okay. LB, De Bruyne, do you think he still needs to do more to prove himself, or do you think that I should already call him one of the great midfielders already?
Look, I don't think you're being harsh on De Bruyne, HH. Personally, I think he has had some really good opportunities, especially none bigger than a World Cup semi-final against Brazil. But I think with De Bruyne, the good thing about him is he's going to continue to get more opportunities in the future. Obviously, playing in a club like Man City and with the Belgium international team as well. But in terms of opportunities in finals, I don't think he's had any in the CLs or the World Cup finals as well, because he's only played the Champions League semi-final and the World Cup semi-final as well. But nevertheless, I don't think you're being harsh on De Bruyne, HH.
Okay. So you think that I am being too harsh?
I don't think you're being too harsh, no.
Oh, okay. So before I go to, do you think that De Bruyne can achieve these things? Do you see it in him that he can have this iconic performance in a Champions League final, in a World Cup final, and really do greater things? Do you see that in him or no?
I see it in him. Obviously, he's going to have to get those opportunities in the future, and he's proven that he has the skills and attributes to prove himself at the highest level. And he's still got 5-6 years left in him as well. So I think he has more to prove. But up until now, I don't think he's been able to prove that he's as good as Paul Pogba.
Okay. San Maya, man. De Bruyne. Do you think I'm being so harsh on him, or do you think he needs to do more to prove himself?
I don't think you're being way too harsh, but I actually agree that Kevin De Bruyne isn't like a big game performer like Cristiano, Drogba, but at the same time he's not like a big game choker like Higuain or something. But I think Kevin De Bruyne is currently the best cam at the moment. Yes, he's not very clutch like Ramos versus Atletico, Cristiano Ronaldo against Atletico, the hat trick. But let's not forget he has contributed against big teams like PSG, like Tottenham last year. He got 3 assists, and he was one of the best players against Real Madrid too this season. And he played really well last year against Brazil in the World Cup.
Okay, so you think that I am being a bit too harsh, that he's already done and proven himself?
Well, he's not maybe a little bit too harsh, but I wouldn't say he's like a Ronaldo in terms of clutch.
No, but see, I'm not even going that far in terms of like clutch and winning it. I'm just saying that give me that truly big game where you're like, wow, De Bruyne really won this for us. De Bruyne really stood out as a player. Even in that Brazil game, yes, he scored the goal. That was a team performance. And Lukaku played supremely well. But that was a team performance. Whereas De Bruyne as an individual, carried his team forward, led his team by the front line forward in the way that Pogba did for Man United in that Man City game, or what Pogba did in that final
PSG
against
versus
Croatia.
Man City. PSG versus Man City. You clearly haven't watched that game, then I don't know what's wrong. Because I've mentioned it so many times. PSG versus Man City. You have to watch that game.
Okay.
He scored the away goal. He scored the away goal, and he scored the winning goal in the other leg.
Okay, but
And
Natsa, wait, Natsa, is this
Okay.
the same PSG that's conceded 6 goals against Barcelona in the Miracle at Camp Nou? Is this the same PSG that's allowed Marcus Rashford to
Bro,
that's
you don't have
allowed
to mention the opposition. You just have to know what happened.
HH,
It
can I
doesn't
respond?
matter who it is. You still give credit for Neymar doing that comeback against PSG. You still give him credit for it.
Yeah, I mean,
You can't take it away.
HH, can I respond?
Yeah, Sadman, go for it.
I think last year, remember when Pep benched De Bruyne against Tottenham in the first leg? In the second leg, he played De Bruyne and he got 3 assists.
Yeah, and
Like,
but
it's not
Laporte has
because
to make
of
2
that.
mistakes.
And
Let me-
Llorente handball.
land.
You could argue Man City were kind of robbed in that game because Llorente. I personally don't think that goal was fair. The Llorente goal, the 4th goal from Tottenham. I mean, the 3rd goal by Tottenham. So if that goal didn't stood, De Bruyne would have gotten 3 assists, and Man City would have gone through, and he would have been one of their best players in that game.
Okay. Ali Osman, man, your assessments on De Bruyne. Do you think I'm being too harsh on the dude?
Yes, I think you are. I think De Bruyne, even though I was backing Pogba for this debate with this particular thing, I think you're being a little bit too harsh, because when I see De Bruyne, I see that he has that type of arrogance. Maybe he doesn't have a history of it where he turns up in Champions League finals, semi-finals, but I can see him turning up, having a overall great game, because he has that type of arrogance to help his team go across the line, like for example, the final of the FA Cup where Manchester City beat Watford 6-0. I remember he came off the bench, yeah, and oh my god, the way he performed that game, I knew he was something special. When I watched him, since that day, I was like, this guy is special. The guy has that arrogance to do those type of stuff, but obviously he hasn't done it. So, but I think he could. He's that type of player.
Okay. So De Bruyne hasn't yet done these big iconic things, but you believe he has the potential to.
Yeah, I think he has the character. He has that Cristiano Ronaldo character.
Does he?
Yeah, I think.
Does he? Oh, I mean, okay,
I do. I think I see that arrogance in him. I see it in him. The way he performs.
I definitely see competitive.
Let me talk. Remember. Let me talk. So the arrogance is there. As a legitimate thing. Yeah. Anyway, go on.
Okay. So Nata then. Okay, Nata, in your position, so do you believe De Bruyne? So you believe De Bruyne is one of the best midfielders in the world? That I'm on crack. So you believe De Bruyne is one of the best midfielders in the world?
Tell me one team that wouldn't take De Bruyne in the world. Name me one.
Man United.
So
what?
Okay, wait. So
come on, he wouldn't go to Man United because they're rivals. He would never go to a rival.
Whoa. Okay, yeah, Nippon, that came out of nowhere, bro. Okay, Natsa, ask me the question again. I didn't hear it properly. Ask me the question again.
I said, tell me one club in the world, in Europe, that wouldn't take De Bruyne. Like that De Bruyne wouldn't go in straight away in that midfield and be an important player for them.
I don't know how he would improve that Barcelona team with Messi. Based on how De Bruyne plays, I don't know how
he would improve them, because then Messi would have another creative player playing with him. He wouldn't have those bricks in midfield.
No. But like, see, this is what I say. De Bruyne, I wouldn't call a creative player. He's a very particular kind of player. Like, De Bruyne isn't creative in the sense of like a peak Iniesta. Or
he's not an intricate player. He's not an intricate player.
You see, David Silva or an Isco would perfectly slot into Barcelona. De Bruyne, I don't know where he would slot.
He plays for a Pep team. What are you talking about? He plays for Barcelona's system. How would he not fit in a Barcelona team?
No.
He might not be intricate like Iniesta or Xavi or David
It's
Silva.
not the same system.
He's
They
a
play
creative
completely
player.
differently.
If Valverde was still
completely
Barcelona
different.
manager, it probably wouldn't matter, to be honest. If Valverde's not manager anymore, Barcelona, but I don't think if Valverde was Barcelona manager, it would make a difference. But that's my personal.
Like Barcelona don't play like they used to before. Like they don't play.
No. But what I'm saying to you is that, you see, for instance, De Bruyne at Man United, I don't know how much he will change things at Man United, personally for me. Because, De Bruyne isn't going to rapidly improve a struggling average team. Wolfsburg were not a struggling average team because without them, they still managed to beat Real Madrid. So against a team that is struggling and isn't even in the Europa League, I don't know how De Bruyne can improve that kind of team. So I don't know. So for United, I'm not sure whether De Bruyne is the kind of guy that they should be going for, because they should be going for.
So Bruno Fernandes is improving. Bruno Fernandes is improving United, but De Bruyne can't.
Again, Bruno Fernandes is a very different kind of player to a De Bruyne.
No, he's not. They're very similar. They're not exactly the same, but they're very similar players. They both like to take set pieces. They both like to cross.
No.
Like to come outside the box. They're both footed.
The way in which they play is different. The way in which they play the game of football is different. So for Bruno Fernandes, that's great scouting, because that is obviously a guy who works well with what United and Solskjaer are trying to do. For De Bruyne,
it's easy to see that in hindsight, though.
Hey, no, but
I don't know what you're saying before.
I think the only thing as well is because United's system of, and this is one of the points I was trying to guess, is that like United have not had a consistent system for years. Like Man City have, and Pep, as you said, it's a Pep team. Pep has a system as a stamp, and he doesn't change. Manchester United's system under different managers has been completely, and this is not a point saying we're Pogba or not. But my point is that, like, if, for example, we're talking about a 10 men behind the ball Mourinho type system, which he brought to Manchester United, or Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's similar adaptation but counter-attacking type of sort of system, it might be a slightly different. Working in that system will be different. I don't necessarily think. I think it's reasonable to say that Kevin De Bruyne profits better in the system that Pep Guardiola has, with the type of player that he is, than in a Mourinho system or in, obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer system. I think that's a reasonable statement.
Wait, Red Devil, I'd just like to ask you something. You were talking about systems here, Ole's system, Mourinho system. Yeah. So you're telling me a player needs to play in a good system, in a system that suits them to be successful? Is that what you're saying? Because HH doesn't seem to get that.
It depends, because, well, you look at Robin, for example. Robin was a flop at Chelsea, then he went to Bayern Munich.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wait, is that a wrong statement to say? Is that wrong statement to say?
Someone that would say Robin could play in any system.
In truth, Robin was actually extremely good for Chelsea, but he got injured. Once he actually got a really good run, he got injured.
That's what I was
now
thinking.
We call Robin a system player.
No. I'm not saying. No, I'm definitely not saying that Robin is a system. I think the point I'm trying to make is, like, let's be real. Let's be reasonable. That, like, obviously, the coach that you have.
Okay, this is the best way to explain. It. It's about setting. It's almost similar to playing styles. So people keep getting me at this whole system merchants thing, and I started said, wait a minute. Every player needs a system to operate in for them to work. So the best way for me to explain it is that there are those players who are just naturally good, who just have that natural footballing talent where you can put them in any situation. They may not look as good if they're in a strong system, but even if you put them in a system that doesn't work for them as an individual, they'll still be able to operate and do something based on what they can do. Whether you can put Neymar in any team, based on just how he plays the game and his natural talent, he can adapt. That's the key thing. He can adapt and tweak his game as an individual to suit what he's doing. Cristiano knows that, all right, this is how this team plays. Let me adapt, tweak, and adjust my game. The Portugal system isn't really a perfect system, but he can go there and somehow make it work. So someone like a Pogba, United, damn it, this ain't like Juventus, bro. But he has now adjusted and can somehow adjust and adapt his game to make it work. De Bruyne can't do that because he's limited as to what he can do. What he can do is very good, but it's limited. You know, he can't go and he can't adapt and adjust his game to suit a different kind of team, man. So, all right, let's bring in Nippon in here. Nippon, man, De Bruyne, man. Do you actually no? First of all, Nippon, since you're coming in, De Bruyne or Pogba? Who are you taking? Who's the better player, De Bruyne or Pogba? Nippon Sharma, calling Nippon Sharma, calling Nippon Sharma. All right, Nippon is on Mars. All right, Stodge. Am I being too harsh on De Bruyne?
He's there. He's there.
Okay, he's there. Okay, he's there. No, okay. So, Nippon, first off, who do you take?
Lady Medicine.
Wait, what?
What the hell?
Bumba clot.
Okay, Nippon, who are you taking? De Bruyne or Nippon? Sorry, De Bruyne or Pogba?
I'll choose Nippon.
Nippon, are you there?
My mic is broken.
Oh,
okay. We can hear you.
We can hear you now.
Speak.
Okay, Nippon, are you there? Nippon,
can you hear me?
Yes,
we can hear you.
Ross.
Right. De Bruyne or Pogba? I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to go for De Bruyne.
My G.
So and why De Bruyne? Explain why De Bruyne?
Just like one of the other dudes said, he might not be a big game player, but he doesn't choke in big games either.
Wait, okay. Nippon, are you in Iraq or in a bunker? Because you sound like you're in a World War II bunker. Boy, is everything fine?
I'm in my bedroom. But,
okay, fine. Okay, wait so much info. Fine. Okay, cool. Okay, so Nippon, so why are you taking De Bruyne more? Why are you taking De Bruyne more?
I just think he's the better midfielder at this moment in time.
Okay. So do you?
And as for I needed this isn't a personal attack on one of the callers, but the person who said Sterling is overrated. Would he be saying that if Sterling was French or Jamaican or Italian or American?
Well, Sterling's overrated.
He's just saying that because Sterling's English.
I can be biased, but I know that Sterling is not. He has not been a player that can reach those heights. He's been lucky that he plays for a city team that actually works for him.
Come on, you're just saying that. You're just saying that because he's English.
He goes to England. He goes to any other team.
Why are you accusing him of that?
You're just saying that because he's English, mate.
Why are you accusing him of that? For what reasons do you have to accuse him of that? I think he's overrated as well.
What do we when we use? I feel the term overrated is used a lot. Like, what do we mean by overrated? Like, who's actually because when Sterling was playing a lot of time, it's only in that peak season that actually people started to talk about Sterling. At his time at Liverpool, his first season at Manchester City, no one was really actually rated him at all. So I don't get what people mean by overrated.
I remember Liverpool fans saying that Ayew was better.
Yo, HH was talking about system players. Sterling is a system player.
Oh my God. This guy's England's performances is one of the worst. He's one of the worst players for England I've ever seen in my life. Rashford, I'll tell you right now, Rashford, I think, is like way better than Sterling. Because when I watch these guys without a system for England,
he's more talented.
Rashford makes this guy look like a bum. Honestly, sometimes I watch Sterling for England and I'm like, is this guy? How much has Guardiola created this guy's career? Because he can't beat anyone. Just waiting for back post. I'm watching for England and I'm like, this guy he can't do anything.
Wait, easy.
Kane robbed Sterling.
Nippon. Because we'll get to Sterling. Because we'll get to Sterling, but Nippon, let's just focus on this right now. So, do you feel De Bruyne is already one of the best midfielders in the world, or do you think he still needs to prove himself?
Oh no! No doubt, he's one of the best in the world.
Okay, and Nippon, are you? Some people are asking, are you in North Korea?
No, I'm in my bedroom. It's just that my mic.
So you're not in North Korea.
No, my mic is so the max volume on my mic is so quiet because it got mixed up with the call volume and everything.
He's celebrating Kim Jong-un's.
Easy.
Why would he be?
Come on, let's not get political, shall we?
Okay.
Yeah, he's not political.
Okay. No. This ain't no political culture. Relax, chill. Because look, man, I Messi is not real, man. Chill, relax. So, Storge, are we being too harsh on the De Bruyne?
I don't think we are being too harsh. I think the question applies to you. Are you being too harsh on De Bruyne?
So the answer is no. So okay, cool.
No. Wait. This is what I'm saying.
Oh,
Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. But the issue I have is you cannot change the parameters that you set for particular players. Because if you want to apply this notion that you have to score in the knockout stages, I'm looking at Hazard's resume. He hasn't scored in the knockout stages. Okay, that's an
Leave
X.
Hazard out of this. Wait.
We're going to this because
He's finding a way to
this is the issue. This is the only issue I have. No. Wait. Because this comparison will show people the issue I have. The issue why I think you rate De Bruyne. This will show people. Okay, then. So you say you need to score. You said you always talk about these two things: knockout stage goals in a World Cup, Champions League final goal, and a big clutch performance. Okay. So first we talked about knockout stages. De Bruyne actually has 2 knockout goals. Hazard 0
against Brazil.
There you go.
Against Real Madrid.
Let's keep going.
Wait,
so
tell him about that Brazil.
Champions League final.
Land.
De Bruyne has more Champions League contributions. Both of them haven't made a final. Haven't done anything clutch. They've won the same amount of Premier League titles. So I'm looking at this. I'm like, one of them you're telling us is a top 2 player. The other one's a role player. So my issue is not with the fact that you don't rate De Bruyne. My issue is with your analysis, because your analysis makes absolutely no sense. Because at one moment you keep on changing it for the players that you like, and for the next moment, the player that you dislike suddenly.
Hey, stop reading the live chat, bro. Stop reading the live chat.
I'm not reading the live chat.
No. Okay. Before I come to Red Devil, okay. So, Storgy, you've attacked my credibility. So, there is this notion that I move the goalposts based on players that I like and so forth, and say, okay, and you've just laid up, okay, because again, I didn't want to bring him into this, but fine, we're here. So, Red Devil, I'll come to you. You now mentioned the fact that Hazard, like De Bruyne, has done more, scored more, and everything than Eden Hazard, and that's all great and everything. In terms of what an individual has done, Eden Hazard is amongst the top 5. De Bruyne, at no point in his career, from now until he retires, will ever be sniffing the top 3 or top 4 of best players in the world, and that's the difference. So De Bruyne can score all he wants and everything. He's not. So it's not me moving the goalpost. I'm like, yes, I do admit that 100% De Bruyne has scored all those goals and everything in the knockout games. But what I'll say this is to start is this: when Eden Hazard was balling his face off in that World Cup semi, French guys was all over him. What the hell was De Bruyne doing? What was he doing? Where was he? Where was he when Hazard needed him the most? All right, thank you. So, Red Devil Studio, am I being too harsh on De Bruyne?
I mean, I think you are being a bit harsh on De Bruyne, and my actual personal view, I actually do think that Kevin De Bruyne is a better player than Paul Pogba. That is actually my opinion. I think the reason why I was so with the way I spoke regarding Pogba is more because I feel that over the last couple of years there's been quite a big agenda against Paul Pogba, and that as a United fan looking at what Paul Pogba's done, there have been a few things that have been skewed to make it sound like Paul Pogba's been like an irrelevant player. Like the example that we're in United in the same position this season to last season. Well, yes, we are, but we also have less points than we had last season, and we still stand in the chat, that type of thing. I'm not going to lie. I would agree with the rest of the panel in that I do think that Kevin De Bruyne is an overall better player, even though they're playing different positions, than Eden Hazard. I actually think Eden Hazard is one of the most overrated players. Sorry,
easy.
Sorry. I'm just saying. It's just because based on as people said your criteria. So like I think Hazard certainly has a lot more, and look at what's going on at Real Madrid. But enough said. But I don't think anyone is saying. I think what's taken is that no one here is saying that Kevin De Bruyne is a terrible player, is a bad player. Is that maybe there's some people that feel that need a bit more convincing for him to be seen as a top 5 midfielder, etc. But like I said, for me, like my personal opinion is that I do think that Kevin De Bruyne is overall the better player than Paul Pogba. That is my view. I still think that Paul Pogba is nowhere as bad as a lot of people are making out to be. And And yeah, like Kevin De Bruyne is a solid player, you know. So I would it be weird to say that Kevin De Bruyne is overrated. I don't think he is. And clearly in the Man City team, like he works with Pep Guardiola. What more do you want? You know, it's just that the last point I'll make just is that, you know, you can never disregard the importance of obviously your team players, but also tactics and the manager that you have. And I believe that Kevin De Bruyne has, aside from Mourinho at Chelsea, has been under in the clubs that he's been under very good managers. You know, in compared to some other midfielders who haven't been under good managers who can utilize the potential from the teams. That is an important factor. There is individual talent, but there is also being under a very good manager who can get that talent on you on a consistent basis. And that's something that we know that Pep Guardiola can do in comparison to other managers, for example. So that's my 2 cents.
All right, let me just hit the super chat here, man. So yes, decided says that Zad won EPL Player of the Year. Has KDB? No, he hasn't. No, he hasn't. But people still want to put KDB in the same conversation as your boy Zad. But it's fine. It's fine. People will respect your boy Zad very soon. Guys, I want you guys to send in some questions, guys. I want you guys to send in some questions. Send in those questions through right now. But we touch upon something interesting. Which is Sterling.
Ooh.
And I heard the term overrated thrown about. I think that's harsh. Calling him overrated is harsh. But what I will say is this. Sterling is the prime, perfect, supreme example of a system merchant. Like, I don't think there is a better example of a system merchant than Sterling. And also than Sterling. And also, guys, remember, being a system merchant isn't bad. What if I had a choice between being a system merchant who wins numerous trophies and a supremely amazing adaptable player who has zero trophies or zero accolades? I will happily be the system merchant with several accolades, with many goals and so forth. So it is what it is. But I was struck by this. See, this is where it gets complex. You see Sterling in England, he's not the same player. He's literally not the same player. But you look at him in City and the role that he plays, boom, he walks like a dream. So that tells me that no, he needs to be, he relies upon instructions and coaching. Very rarely can he step outside the realm of what he's been instructed to really try and affect the game as an individual. So he is like the antithesis of Robin, the GOAT. You know, he's antithesis of Robin, the GOAT. So, but I bring that point I made earlier. The reason City haven't been doing well this season is Sterling has had his worst season so far for Man City. He has. When Sterling had arguably his 2 best seasons for Man City, one of those seasons people were saying that, man, should he actually be on the Ballon d'Or conversation? Look at how well City did. But he's not been, and that just shows you again that even if he's a system merchant, you can still be a vital system merchant for your team. And this season has proven that even if Sterling was amazing, Liverpool still say what's up. Liverpool still say what's up, but the gap isn't that big then. The gap is like 7-8 points, not like 18, 19 points. So I'll come first to Jamal. Sterling, man, is he overrated? How would you critique Raheem Sterling?
Yeah. Sterling is the biggest system merchant ever. He's the biggest system merchant in history. People say Firmino is the biggest system merchant, but nah, it's Sterling. You could actually turn off a game and then play it back, and they'll say Sterling score, and you'll say, oh, I know Sterling score a tap-in. He always scores tap-in, and he's an awful finisher. He misses plenty tap-ins and all too. The reason why Sterling's name always on the team sheet is because Pep used him as he said that he is the biggest component in a system. So he always used Sterling. That's why Sterling's always playing, and he's always the first one on the team sheet because he listens to instructions and he gets his system. That's why Sterling. But he's the biggest system merchant and a horrible finisher.
Damn. LB, Sterling. Your sentiments on Sterling.
Look, I think that Sterling is also a system merchant. He only has, personally, I only think he only has two attributes, which is pace and his movement. I don't think he's a great dribbler. As what was mentioned before, his only goals are tap-ins. And I remember everyone was sort of talking him up before Russia 2018, and he didn't even score a goal. And personally, I don't think he should be even in the starting 11 for England. And he's never even scored a goal against Man United as well. So, system merchant. And
that doesn't matter though.
Okay, Ali Osman, Sterling.
Yes, you said it yourself. Sterling is a system player. As a player, his ability, I don't really rate him. His dribbling isn't all that. Yeah. His finishing ain't great. His creativity, his passing ain't great. What he does is he works well for Guardiola's system. He's always there at the back post to tap it in. It works well for him, and that's what makes him look good, and that's why he has all these goals. But if you look at his overall game, his dribbling, his creativity, is he really levels? For me, he's not. You mentioned as well, when he plays for England, he's a completely different player because there's no system to help him. There's no world-class players
No, world class
to help you. He looks completely different for England. So yeah, that's my view on Sterling. He's a system player, and he ain't really that great when it comes to his ability.
Okay, let me just address it. So your boy Sergio, man, thank you for being a mod. Because a system is great to fit your position. So of course, every player plays in a system. So okay, maybe I need to just properly clear this up and everything, man. A system merchant is a player who is very reliant on how the team plays, and very rarely can he individually go out of the realm of the blueprints that has been laid before for the team. So many people would say, oh, Messi is a system merchant. You could maybe see that to a degree because you can see how Messi is still trying to play for Argentina, like how he plays for Barcelona. But Messi is so skilled and he can do so much on his own as an individual. By definition, he can't be a system merchant because give Messi the ball, he'll be able to conjure up and create something based on his amazing talent. So individuals who can step out of the blueprints of the team's instructions and can do things that are imaginative off their own back break out of the paradigm of the system. But those individuals who are reliant upon the paradigm of the system of this is where I need to run to, this is where I need to go to, this is the position that I take, and can't think outside of the box, those are guys who are reliant and are slaves to the system and the blueprint that their coach has given them. So that's just the explanation. So Natsa, Sterling, your assessment.
Although I called Sterling overrated, the fact that you say he's a definition of a system merchant isn't actually true. Keep away that 2018 World Cup away from the conversation. He has scored a hat-trick against Spain. He has scored numerous goals for England, more than Rashford actually. So he's not been shit for England totally. Although I do think
no,
he's overrated.
Wait. But when I say that he's crap for England, is he the same player for England as he Messi? Oh, sorry, is he the same player for England as he is for Man City? Is he as
nobody in England is the same player for England? Not even Sancho is as good as he is for Dortmund, as he is for England. Not even Rashford. Nobody is good for England. Let's be honest over it. Nobody is. Yeah, he's been better. He just everybody in England in that team plays better for their club than they do for England. So I don't know why you say that.
Except the keeper, maybe I'd argue. What's his name? Everton keeper Pickford. I think it's better for England than it is for Everton.
Yeah, he's better for England.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say any player for England performs well. Not even Harry Kane has been good for England. So he scores a lot of goals, but he only scores pens and headers and shit. He doesn't do anything vital. But I would say Sterling is overrated in terms of how people rate him when they're saying Ballon d'Or or anything like that. I would say he's overrated in that kind of stuff. But in terms of him being an effective player, he is an effective player, which you need in this modern game. You need effective players that can actually run run, and can score. He's not a very good finisher, but you need tapping merchants. Tapping merchants in your team. Everybody needs a tapping merchant in their team. Without them, how are you going to succeed? You need those goals. You need Ronaldo, for example. Putting that point in.
Easy, man. Easy. We've got fanboys here, bro.
So I would say he's not a definition of a system merchant, but I would say because even at Liverpool, you remember Sterling at Liverpool? He actually bowled at Liverpool.
He
was actually a very good player. He did bowl at Liverpool, so I don't know. I would not call him a system merchant to that degree, but he does own a lot to Pep Guardiola, though. I would say that.
All right, Red Tommy.
Yo,
yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you.
So on Sterling, yeah?
Yeah.
I believe that he is a system merchant. I think he's a bit of a weird player for me. Like, someone with that much pace should be able to beat a man, and I just don't feel that he can beat a man. He just knocks the ball and crosses it in. Really, like, he's just a standard player for me. I feel like there's a lot of better players in that City team. I think Sané is a much better player. Technically, he's better than Sterling. I feel like there's just so many more better players than him that can do a better job. I think if he wasn't in that team, then he just wouldn't be good. He's basically Nathan Redmond.
Whoa. Nathan
Redmond easily be replaced. Easily.
Nah, I just don't think he's that good.
Come on, that's low, man. Nathan Redmond?
When we're rating him against other wingers technically in the Prem, I feel like there's just so many that are better than him. Say like Mane, Sané, the two that rhyme that are better than him. That must prove something. We've got Salah. Salah's better. I'd say Rashford's better technically. Martial, even though he's playing up front now. I think there's just a lot that are better than him at the minute. I think he needs to add a few more things to his game.
So you think like he's very reliant on Pep and the system then?
Yeah, definitely. I think without Pep, I don't know where he'd be in his career now, but it wouldn't be on the level that he's at with the trophies and breaking the points record in Premier League and stuff without Pep.
So if he stayed at Liverpool, you don't think that he would have improved if he stayed at Liverpool?
It probably would have improved, but not to this extent now.
Okay. All right, Stodge, man. Sterling, talk.
All right. Normally, I don't use any stats. I just go off passion. But this time I thought I'll just look at it. And the picture is looking real bad. Really, really bad for Sterling. People talk about his time at Liverpool. He made 95 appearances for Liverpool. He scored 18 goals. 18, 1-8. 3 years, 90, almost 100 appearances, 18 goals. For England, he's made 56 appearances, 12 goals. The last World Cup, I think the big international tournament he scored in was in 2014 when he was like 18 years old. He's been irrelevant in the rest. And to put this into context, I don't know what's happened to the media. They're more concerned with tracking what Sterling eats and criticize him. But for some reason, they're afraid of criticizing his performances. Let's put this into context. Somebody that's really criticized in the media is Salah. And Salah is playing in one of the worst Egypt teams ever. It's one of the worst, if you go by player for player. Salah has made 67 appearances for Egypt. He scored 41 goals. And he's got way more assists. And he's surrounded by bums. Essentially, he has to do everything. And it's a similar case with Mane as well. This guy is playing with Niang. Is that his name? Do you know these guys would die to be in the position Sterling is in for England? They are literally, these two are surrounded by just bums internationally. And they're still contributing way more goals than him. So, and I look up, he only scored 18 goals, and then suddenly he goes to City and is among the top scorers.
Can I ask a question?
This is one of the reasons why I say sometimes I question Klopp's tactics. Because although people say that our system, yes, Firmino does really suit Mane and Salah. But I don't know how much Trent crossing 24/7 benefits Salah. Because ever since Trent has been crossing, Salah's goals have been dipping down. Because Salah and Mane, they're not good headers of the ball. So I don't know what they and you gotta think this guy is getting so listen.
And also remember that was the big issue when Atletico scored those goals. Like, bro,
exactly. We haven't got anyone to head the ball, and
head the ball.
Exactly, and this is and the great thing about De Bruyne is he doesn't do crosses like what's his name, Trent. De Bruyne gives you low crosses that don't even require much technique. You basically got an open goal. As soon as he crosses it, there it is, open goal. Tap it in. So I'll say everyone knows around 70% of Sterling's goals is tap-ins. And I disrespected Guardiola before, and I've disrespected him a lot. But when I look at Sterling, and the type of goals he scores, and the way this guy has made this guy look good, basically based on pure talent, that's the only thing. Sometimes I wonder, is this guy that great?
No.
Storch,
no. Storch, let's be real, because again, look for me. I am a registered Pep hater. I'm a registered fully Pep hater since 2009. After he cheated Chelsea out of a Champions League. But I'll be real with you, bro. Pep deserves a lot of credit for what he did with Sterling. You can't hate, because Pep, that is coaching. That's coaching. Because I called Sterling a brick. I called him a brainless for Liverpool. So what Pep has done is coaching. So bro, I can't hate. This has been harsh. Dave Tapco, thank you for the super chats. Sterling is a better than James. That's harsh. Come on, bro. That's harsh. That's harsh.
Leave Dan James alone, man.
Okay, Okay, then. Rare Devil, Sterling, man. Where do you roll on this, bro?
So my view on Sterling is almost similar to Pogba, where that, like, these ironic enough two players, so who I feel had a very, very strong media agenda against them when they were rising up. And I certainly think Raheem Sterling, who was like 18, 19 at the time, especially, when he made the move from Liverpool to City to the best of his career, he got a lot of hate from the media, from Liverpool fans. And then at the peak of it was, I think, when we obviously when England got knocked out by Iceland in 2016. The amount of, like, there are many players in that England team that deserve hate. Many England players. Joe Hart being one of them, by being a banter keeper in terms of about. Let's be real here, But the amount of vitriol, I remember vividly the amount of vitriol that he got, from Finn fans was wrong. Like, and a lot of it was personal. A lot of it was racist, frankly. So and in that moment, Pep Guardiola, like, I remember reading a few interviews sometimes, and basically saying, like, I'm going to make you a world-class player. Like, almost like it felt like Pep Guardiola was going to be, when Sterling felt like all alone and just cast off, Pep Guardiola almost came in as if that sort of like entry, put his arms on his shoulder, I'm going to make something out of you type of thing. And I don't think that's insignificant. I genuinely think that, like, Pep Guardiola has contributed to the player that Sterling actually is, because of partly coming out of that situation with England and Liverpool and all the hate and stuff that was around. And so he respects Pep Guardiola so much to fit into the system and to do what Pep Guardiola says. Because Pep Guardiola is probably the first manager in a while that just had so much faith and belief in him. And that's very, very important as a player. Let's be real. I mean, talent is one, but when someone has so much faith in you, when everyone else is hating you, when you feel like the whole country is against you,
confidence.
I think it's even more than, it's just deeper. Like, it's like, when there's so much hate around you and one person is like, I believe in you, that makes a massive difference to any player and makes them perform well. It's an incredible difference. So that's something that really, really, really shouldn't be taken for granted. So from that context, that's why I think that it's difficult to call Sterling. Maybe you could call him overrated now, but given that there was so much, I mean, even the previous World Cup, I think he did some tattoo on his leg or something, and then like, he's a bad influence, he's this, he's that, something like that. Like, leave the guy alone, man. Every single time he comes into a tournament. So, as long as his performance is on the field, I must confess, I prefer Leroy Sané better. I think Leroy Sané.
For me, Leroy Sané is one of the best young players in the world. 100%. He's one of the best young players in the world. So he's different.
And, as a United fan, Sterling this season has been poor. And I mean, Wan-Bissaka against Sterling every single time this season. It's been a joke. Like Sterling's not been able to dribble past Wan-Bissaka this season because of how good Wan-Bissaka. Maybe that's more about Wan-Bissaka than Sterling. But what I would say, though, the only thing I would highlight from Sterling, just to give a little bit of devil's advocate, is to be fair, when Manchester City played Real Madrid at the Bernabeu, it was when Raheem Sterling came onto the field, especially on that left wing, that actually started to cause, I think it was Carvajal at that point, a lot of problems. That was when Kevin Bruyne had a good performance in that game. But if you notice, when Sterling came on, especially on that side, like that's when Manchester City went for the juggle and obviously killed off Real Madrid at Bernabeu. So he does perform well in big games at times, and I think it's a stretch to call him overrated. I think, given everything that I've said, but I can see where people are coming from. But
I've got a question for people who are for Sterling. Yeah. If Sterling was replaced in the Pep Guardiola system by a player like Gnabry or Koeman or Martial or Rashford, do you think these players would do as well as Sterling? Because I think they would do just as good as Sterling, or maybe even better than Sterling in this system with these players.
Alice, that's a great question. That's a great question. Pep is very particular about the players that he picks, because he wants players that very to the T follow instructions. Martial is an eons better player than Sterling. Is Martial coachable? Can Martial maintain his discipline to do what he wants as much as Sterling can do? Because one thing you can say, you can install Sterling all you want. He's very disciplined, and his discipline in able to really understand the instructions and continue to follow instructions is a major thing. So Martial, all because you have a player who has better ability doesn't mean that he will fit your system and what you want to do, particularly in how you want to play. So I don't know whether Rashford or Martial would necessarily do better than Sterling. They may have better moments, better games, and do better things individually. I don't know whether they'll be better fits for what Pep wants. Thinking, because again, if you ask Pep, do you want Martial? He may say no, because from his assessment, is like, this player will not give me what I want for how I want my team to play, because he wants his team to play in a very specific kind of way. So, Nippon, Sterling, your view, bro?
Not overrated. Like I say, with a lot of, I just think a lot of people are giving him this hate because, like, I don't think he'd get that much hate if he was like another nationality.
The hell? Wait, easy. So you're saying that he's getting hate because he's English?
Precisely, yeah.
But people give love to Sancho and call Sancho one of the best young players in the world. So, and Sancho's English.
Yeah. I've just noticed something different with Sterling, though, Raheem. But yeah, he's a bit not overrated, overhated. He's not overrated, in my opinion.
So why don't you think he's overrated then? Like, so you think that he really is as good as people think he is, and he's a truly amazing player?
Well, he's not. He's improved under Guardiola. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay, all right. Wait, okay, San Maya, have you spoken on this topic?
Not yet. So
okay,
for me,
Sterling,
Sterling, he is a system merchant. Without Pep's system, he wouldn't be anywhere near the player he is today. But Pep did make him an amazing inside forward, and let's not forget he was joint top goal scorer last season, so he is still a very effective player.
Thank you. That's exactly what I was trying to say.
So wait, sorry, Samuel. So say again, just round off again. So your point is again.
So my point is, Pep made him a great inside forward. Like for example, he was joint top goal scorer last season, but he is a system merchant. He does rely on Pep's system in order to be super effective.
He wasn't the top scorer.
Okay, and that's fair. So guys, send in your questions. If there's anything you want us, the panel, to talk about and discuss, send in those questions, guys. Send in those questions. Red Devil, you've spoken on this?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's that my.
Okay, so while guys sending their questions, again, blessed Ramadan to all of my Muslim brothers out there. Boom, boom, boom. Hope the fasting isn't screwing you up. So enjoy your Ramadan, my Muslim people. I want to speak about Niang.
Yeah,
because I watched the Mane documentary, so I will be doing a review of the Sadio Mane documentary. Really good, really nice, and I'll put it again on Monday. But as I was watching it, I was thinking again about that Nations Cup. Like, I'm not a violent person. I wouldn't say I'm an aggressive person. I'm not sure what I would do if I saw Niang in the streets. And the thing about this is that Niang isn't like the other dude who missed an open goal at the 2010 World Cup, who I will never forgive, ever. But the thing about it is that when you're so bad, how do you keep getting chances? I mean, can anybody explain to me like why a Niang can keep getting chances when it's so obvious? Or is it that some coaches see something different in him? Is it because he's friends with? How is someone so awful even an option? That's what I want to know. Does anyone have an answer, please? I'm sorry.
Who's this guy we're talking about, HH?
Niang.
Jones is an example. Jones is an example of that.
Do not talk to me about Jones. I would gladly play myself over him in that United team.
Okay, wait. But I think so Stodge, you wanted to say something, Stodge?
Yeah, players like Niang, Jones, and a few others. When I look at these players, I don't really believe in conspiracy theories, but I often think there has to be a football. There has to be like a football Illuminati, because I don't know how these players survive. Bro, this guy managed to get himself to AC Milan. Niang. If that doesn't tell you anything, and he's been getting so many chances, how is this guy even a professional? Bro, he is.
No,
he is so bad. He can't control the ball. He can't head. He can't finish.
Easy. No. So look, it's so funny that he says, because this is like a separate topic in and of itself. Now, I don't believe in the Illuminati. Like, nah, I just don't. But there are times when I just sit back and say, I'm okay at football. I'm okay. There are a few players out there that I'm like, I'm not. I think I'm better than this dude.
Fellaini. Marwan Fellaini.
It's like, this dude I'm looking
Marwan Fellaini. Marwan the Tree Fellaini.
Fellaini was good in the air.
Wait. So see, I'm looking at a dude here who can't control the ball, is a pace merchant, has horrible decision making, has zero sense of a turn in direction. And I said to myself that, so maybe there's like an Illuminati or thingy where there are certain players who have a certain influence over a manager and they have to be picked. I swear to you, when I see Niang play, I'm like, he knows someone. This dude is too bad to even be an option. Like, there are guys where, okay, look, man, it is what it is. No, there are guys where these guys shouldn't even be an option. They shouldn't even be an option. And these guys have finessed clubs off wages. What the hell? I'm
living the life.
Bring on this.
I never even heard of this Niang guy before you even mentioned him. Have hope.
Oh,
I'm not going to lie to you.
Osman, hit it.
These players, like, I agree with you. Sometimes you look at a player like Fellaini, like Niang. How did I not make it as a footballer? At least as a semi-pro footballer. If these players are professional,
Fellaini was a key part of Belgium's path to the semi-finals.
Phil Jones, 10 years at Man United, the biggest club in English football. It's mad. It's mad. Some of these players get lucky.
Okay, let's get into some questions. So, do you guys think there'll be a club spending more than 100 million on a player this summer? Interesting.
Highly doubted.
So basically,
I highly doubt it.
So basically, the thing here is we're now in a very strange situation now. Now, look, I don't know what people's economic books are and everything, but see, here's my thing here. There's a divide. There is a divide. Below a certain line, there are clubs that are heavily reliant on the gate receipts from home games, not only to balance the books, but to have a little extra change to now spend on stuff. So those guys below the line, you want to say Southampton, you want to say Bournemouth, you want to say Norwich, these guys, the books are now probably unbalanced. So they now have to now dig in deep into their recess to sort of, because you can't even begin to spend if your books aren't balanced or slightly in the red, where you can, okay, I'm going to take a bit of a loss here because I know that I'm going to go in the green in the future. So boom. But there are guys above the line who, these guys don't rely on gate receipts because their owners have a liquid cash. Abramovich can say what's up to you with 300 million in cold cash. I don't care where he got the money from because Abramovich is my guy, and I hope that we meet one day so he can give me a job. But the thing is that you look at the PSG owners, you look at the City owners, potentially the Saudi Arabia owners, they're not reliant on the home games. These guys can take money from anywhere. So for those guys, they can still spend, but this is where it gets crazy. Would it be unfair though? Still hold now, guys. Now this gets really interesting. If I'm a club who has suffered financially, seriously, during this whole time, and I need to balance the books, I've got a young star, really young up and coming star. If PSG or Man City or Newcastle offer 150 for this dude, how the hell do I say no? That 150 could potentially save our club and keep us afloat till when hopefully next season can fully start. So as much as you can say it's unfair, that's money that these bigger clubs have could potentially save some clubs. But say, I am begging you, please buy this dude for 150, for 120, for 160, because they could save our clubs. So San Maya, what do you think about this? Do you think any club will be able to spend over 100 mil this summer?
I don't think so. Probably not.
Why not?
I think it's just because of the virus and teams are gonna like lose money anyway. So yeah, they probably won't spend over 100 million.
Okay. Osman.
Yes, I think there might not be any 100 million pound transfers because did any of you hear what Ed Woodward said about this topic?
What did he say? What did he say?
So basically, if you didn't hear, he was basically like, it's very unlikely that there will be any 100 million pound transfers, considering what has happened. So I don't know if that's a tactic to try lower the price for Jadon Sancho, which is what some people say, or if it's real what he's saying. But when he said that, it got me thinking.
Osman. So are you saying that even in this climate, Man City, PSG cannot afford 150, even in this climate, that their owners cannot find the 150 million? Because we know that are a bunch of losers who can be paid off.
To be honest, I'm not qualified in this finance thing, but when I consider what Ed Woodward said, I don't know. But I don't really know much about this finance thing and all this. So yeah, but Ed Woodward's comments were interesting.
No, but again, as I say, it may be a tactic, it may be a ploy, it may be a ploy. So Red Tommy, thoughts on this?
Yeah, I was thinking about this the other day, really. If you think about it, there could be teams coming in, the big teams, for players like Sancho is a good example, to be fair, because Dortmund might want to cash out because they're a selling club, aren't they? Really, they always sell the big players. Kane's another one that's been trying to. Looks like he's trying to get away a little bit. He keeps putting some sly comments out, saying that he'd like to leave if Tottenham don't progress under Mourinho and stuff like that. But
but then Red told me that my question is that is Levy going to let Kane go for a cent under 150?
Levy likes his money, man.
Yep.
Levy loves his money. I don't know, because he furloughed people like a minute after he had chance to, so he probably would. He probably would let him go for 150, but I don't think any less. I think you're right there. No less than that. But yeah, that's my view on that.
Okay, so do you think we will see someone spend over 100 mil, or you don't think anyone will spend more than 100 mil?
I'd say no.
Okay, so before you go, people in the live chat are wondering, where is your accent from? So
Sheffield. It's near Sheffield.
Okay, well, guys, that is what you call a Sheffield accent. All right. No, because actually no, because one of my friends, because I said, wait, I know that accent because one of my friends used to go to Sheffield Hallam, and I went to go and make a film with him near the university and everything. So I was like, yeah, I know that accent. So,
yeah, that's where I'm not from Sheffield, but I'm near there. That's the only place that you'll know, really.
Okay.
So,
Jamal, so do you think anyone will spend over 100 mil?
Yeah, I think Manchester United, because they need a rebuild. That's why I think they will spend over 100 million. But teams like Barcelona, they're screwed. Barcelona right now is in the red. They are dead. Arsenal, don't even think about it. Their owners are tight. And you see, in this window, I think some of them owners, you will see their true colors. I'm watching Liverpool owners. I think they're not going to spend. I'm watching Arsenal owners. I don't think they're going to spend. And also, I'm watching Tottenham owners. I don't think they're going to spend. But if Liverpool do not spend this window, I think that would be the biggest mistake they make the biggest mistake on that club, because right now this team is balanced, but you still need to improve. And if FSG do not improve this team, I think that could be the decline of Liverpool. Yeah.
Okay. LB.
Look, I don't think there will be any clubs spending over 100 million this year, given what's been happening with the virus. However, if there was a club, I'd probably say City or PSG. Obviously, these clubs are run by very wealthy owners and dominated by oil money. So, as I said, I don't think there'll be anyone spending over 100 million.
So if you think if PSG or these dudes spend over 100 mil, do you see FFP stepping in?
I think they'll start to sort of intervene and maybe just look into what's been happening. Yeah.
Okay, no, because again, look, I mean, people say because I can't remember last time FP have actually done anything proper, really, but we'll see. So, Natsa, do you see anyone spending over 100 mil this summer?
No way. Like, you can only spend what you can earn. You can't, like, just because Newcastle have new owners doesn't mean they can do what City did a few years ago. They can't do that anymore. There's no fan.
Will stop them.
Yes, they would try to stop at least. It will not be easy as it was when City got bought, because there was no financial fair play at that time, and they had the luxury of actually being able to do that. But I don't know how Newcastle they're gonna have to do it slowly. They can't do it at once. Plus, what can a club spend if PSG cannot buy big players after they've signed Neymar and Mbappe? How on earth are they gonna buy another player?
Okay.
Because the financial fair play is looking at them right now and seeing what they're doing, because they spent 400 million on two players. They're not doing the same thing. You saw they bought that guy called Gay and what's he called again? I can't remember the other guy. What's his name? Yeah, anyway, Gay. It's just a Gay. They bought just a Gay because they could not afford. Yeah, Sarabia, exactly. They could not afford. They can afford those big name players, so they're doing it that way right now. Because I don't see anyone spending that much money.
All right.
Especially City, because City don't even spend that much money. They spend on more players than just one player over 100.
All
Or
right.
do you mean in total?
Okay.
Do you mean in
All right.
total or?
All right, Stodge.
Yeah. Listen, I don't see any. Well, if the question is, are any players going to go for like 100 million? No, I don't see that happening. But I think tier 2 players can still move. I feel like, I honestly believe, because of what's happening in the market, and the market always dictates the price. That's how it works. In the football market, teams can't just afford, and there's a lot of teams that are having financial struggles. Therefore, they have an incentive to sell. So looking at all the factors, I actually believe that United, if they're smart enough, and Edward Wood is very smart, what he come out with today, I think they could get Sancho between 50 and 70 million if they play their cards right. There's not going to be a single player going for 100 million. And Neymar, I've got a message for you.
So
the next 2 years,
Dortmund will sell for 70. Will sell Sancho for 70 based on how hyped he is.
Yeah.
Knowing that they can
Listen,
sell him for 70.
They can't sell him for 100. That's the best price they're going to get in this type of climate we're in. Plus, Dortmund need the money. They've always needed the money while the economy was decent. And now, after what's happening now, they definitely need the money. So, yeah, they'll be willing to sell. They're a selling club. So how would this change? The only team that I see that might spend over 100 is actually Newcastle, for a few factors. FFP does exist, but they've relaxed FFP. So that gives certain clubs backholes. And there's something about FFP that people don't know. So FFP, if you've got enough money, FFP is not a problem. I'll tell you why. The first time you actually break FFP rules, and a few clubs have, even Liverpool have broke FFP rules early on, they don't ban you from any competition. The first thing they do is fine you. So if I'm the owner of, I'm the Saudis, and I'm looking at how they operate, and I know the first time you do something, you get a fine, and I've got the money to pay it. If it's like 30 million, all right, I'll be willing to pay it. If I can get rid of Matt Ritchie and all these other bums and bring in good players, I'm willing to do it. So yeah, that's the only team. And this completely changes the market. And guess what? People have been talking about Neymar to Barcelona. Firstly, Barcelona were already in debt. They're not spending anything. Secondly, Neymar, you're ending your career at PSG. Your prime is ending at PSG. PSG have too much money to sell you for less than they bought you. So you're not moving. So good luck. Good luck. You better win that Champions League because you're not going anywhere. So this is my message to Neymar. Good luck.
Well, you see, for me,
Hey. Look, he can force his way out of the club. He can stop playing games. He can pull a Laurent Koscielny.
Well, PSG won't be affected because they can pay those wages. They can pay those wages.
He can just stop playing games and say, I want to leave.
Okay. Red Devil.
Anyone spending over 100? Oh, anyone spending over 100 million this summer? Yeah, I think Newcastle's been mentioned a lot. I think it's interesting. I actually posted a video much about Ed Woodward's comments, and I think it was like half and half. I think there's an element that I think when I looked at the context of the quote, I think what Ed Woodward was trying to address is the fact that in the media, it's almost as if, like, the way the media's been reporting transfer stories, it's almost as if there's been no coronavirus pandemic. I think that's the key thing that Ed was trying to come across. It's like, you know, we have, Partey's going to Arsenal for 60 million, all this. So it's like the media, the reporters' transfer story seems to just be as if, like, there's no corona pandemic. The transfer window is going to happen, all seasons going to be playing on, and it's like nothing has happened. I think the context behind that, as Edward was also say, listen, there is obviously a global pandemic. The transfer window is obviously going to be affected, and the reality is that teams that are like, you know, I don't believe that Arsenal are going to sign Thomas Partey. How can, for example, Arsenal sign Thomas Partey when they're busy asking their players to take pay cuts, and they were potentially thinking of following their staff? Like, it's I would even argue it's almost immoral to sort of say you're gonna get your whole staff, your team, to take pay cuts, and then a month from now you're gonna be like, right, we're gonna spend 60 million on one player. That's completely immoral, you know. And a lot of teams, like big teams like Spurs and around Europe, are going to be in that sort of situation. So it doesn't make sense if you're a club that's financially viable, like a Manchester United, for example, to just agree to any, we're going to buy Stones for 120 million or something like that, when you can think, well, hang on for a minute, you know, we might be able to take advantage of the market and wait and see, you know, whether we can get a player for a better price. Or he might just say, listen, hang on for a second. We need to reinforce what we have. Maybe we can look at other players that are cheaper and see what happens, because we just don't know what the state of the transfer market is. And I think the ultimate issue is we don't actually know what the state of the transfer market is going to be like. Normally, transfer market would have been open from about as soon as the season's over. That's always not going to happen. And then it would be closed by the beginning of like August, end of August sort of time. But we still need to finish the Champions League and Europa League, and then the next season's going to start in September. So when is this transfer window actually going to be open in the first place? When will people be able to fly and do medicals? Because will people be able to fly between countries? New countries? We don't know that. So in summary, like I think this whole thing is it's more like responding to this constant, narrative, because ultimately people, media organizations need to sell papers, they need to sell stories, they need to sell clicks. And the reality is that probably 95% of all transfer rumors this season are basically false and, are wrong because we're dealing with this corona pandemic issue.
Okay. This, I think, let's end on this. I think this is a really good one to end on. The worst individual performance and the best you have ever seen in the last decade. So again, the worst individual performance and the best you've seen in the last decade. So I'll go first. See, the key thing here is performance. That is the key thing. You have to say performance. When I say performance, it has to be over the entirety of 90 minutes rather than just a small thing. Because I was about to say Neymar in the miracle at Camp Nou, but he didn't actually have a great performance throughout the whole game. He just had an amazing 12 minutes. Probably the best 12 minutes of a player that I've seen maybe ever, for that short period of time in the context of the game. So the best I'm going to go for Manuel Neuer, 2014 World Cup quarterfinal against Algeria. I think it was either second round. I think it was a second round game against Algeria. Yes, second round because Germany played against France in the quarters. So second round, Neuer against Algeria. I think what he did, really was a catalyst of changing how goalkeepers approached the game and really accelerated the whole idea of the sweeper keeper. And he literally bailed out Germany hugely in that. So for me, Neuer, that's worst. Neong in the Nations Cup final. You can pretty much say Neong in any game in the Nations Cup, but I will say Neong in the Nations Cup final. To be that garbage for a country in a final of that magnitude, I think speaks volumes. So those are my Neuer against Algeria, Neong in the Nations Cup final. Oh, both against Algeria. Both against Algeria. So Jamal, what is yours, man? Best individual and worst individual performance you've seen in the last decade?
Yeah, you can just come back to me a little later. Just have a little time to think.
Okay. All right. LB.
Yeah.
Best individual performance.
So remember, this is the last decade. So from 2010 to now.
Yeah. And does it have to be within from the first minute up until the 90th minute? HH.
Well, not religiously, but how well they played for the better part of the 90 minutes.
And I'm going to say Robert Lewandowski's semi-final against Real Madrid in 2013 because he scored 2 goals, 1 goal in the first half, and then his 3 goals in the second half. And obviously, no one saw that coming. It was against peak Real Madrid, peak Cristiano, peak Ozil. So obviously, a very good side. So that's my best performance from an individual over the last 10 years. The worst performance, I would probably say. Maybe Karius in the 2008 CL final.
Oh, I forgot that. I forgot. I mean, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah, cool.
Okay, all right. What's it called? San Maya, man. Which one are you going for, man?
So for the worst individual performance, would definitely have to go to Karius versus Real Madrid. He was absolutely awful in that game. And the best performance would probably be Yeah, Lewandowski versus Real Madrid, the 4 goals was good too. But Neymar versus PSG, and also Boateng for.
You could only pick one. Only pick one. Just
Okay.
one.
Okay, then maybe Lewandowski versus Real Madrid.
You know, the Karas one is a great shout, but the reason why I don't go for Karas is that it was the worst moment I think in the history of football. I think was what Karas did. That's just the worst moment in the history of our sport. But it wasn't a bad performance over. You know, like this guy was garbage for the whole of the 90 minutes. So, but I get it. It's fair. It's fair. Natsa. Natsa.
I'll come last. Take someone else first.
Okay, cool. Red Tommy. Red Tommy. Are you there?
Hello. Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm on mute.
Cool. All right.
I think worst performance. I've gone a really left field one. I can remember a Champions League game where Barcelona played PSG, and David Luiz, man, he was the ultimate brick that game. I think he got nutmegged 3 times, and I think Suarez scored 3 times in one game.
Damn.
And he megged him all 3 times. I'm pretty sure if I can recall that right. And I can remember thinking this guy is the worst. He should not be a centre back. I just thought that's it. You never play centre back again after that. But for best, the best one I've seen, it blew my mind that they didn't win the game. Where it's Hazard in the World Cup. I thought it was just unreal.
Wait, so who?
Hazard in the World Cup, 20. Is it 2014 or 2018 World Cup? 2018, isn't it?
2018.
Yeah, 2018 World Cup. I just thought he were outstanding. Like, deserved to go through just off that performance, but he didn't have the team backing him up.
Red, I mean, it is what it is, man. I mean, people keep sleeping on your boy Zad, man. But yeah, look, I said again.
I love Hazard.
What great. Hazard did in that semi-final? Let me see. It is probably one of the best performances of a player on a losing team I can remember. So,
it was different. It was different.
All right, so Nippon, give us yours, man.
Well, I was going to say Andrea Pirlo versus Germany in the semi-finals 2006, but when I heard it has to be
2010 to now.
But when I heard it had to be between 2010 and 2020, best performance probably Manuel Neuer in the World Cup final of 2014.
Okay.
No, sorry, not that. Lucas Moura in the Champions League semis versus Ajax.
Okay. And what about the worst?
That's the worst. It's gonna sound generic and Karius. That's all that has to be said.
All right. Ali Osman, man, give us yours.
Yeah, mine is it might not be the best performance in terms of overall performance in the game, but it's iconic. The game Mbappe versus Argentina in a World Cup, where Mbappe took the torch from Lionel Messi, where we knew for certain this guy is special. This guy is special. That's the game where we knew that he's something else. Like that game was unbelievable. Also, a shout out to Mbappe versus Man City. That's the game that I found out who Mbappe was. Those 2 games were iconic in the past decade for me. Very iconic.
And what about the worst then?
The worst.
Yeah.
I don't really remember worst performances like that. Karius was mentioned, so probably him, but that's the only one that I can think of because I don't really remember worst performances like that, to be honest.
Okay.
Wait, what happened to that guy? What's his name? Graham Souness, where a player him that he's George Weah's that performance.
Oh no, I think.
Have you heard about that story?
Okay.
Yeah, and then he was substituted off straight away.
Oh, you know, I don't. I mean, I've got to Google that up. I'll Google that up. Nat, so do you have yours now?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I'm surprised nobody said this, but the worst performance in the last decade was Higuain versus Germany in the final. Yep, the worst one. How many times did he miss in that game? I can't even count.
Okay,
even I could even say Robin. I can even say Robin versus Spain in 2010. How many one-on-ones did Robin miss in that game? Apparently, one of the best players ever.
Hey man, relax, chill. They were doping, man. Those guys were doping, but carry on.
Okay, I would say one of them too, because in big finals to miss those big chances, yeah, you cannot be accepted. And then the best one I would say Messi versus Liverpool in 2018, 19, yeah, Champions League, where he scored that free kick and that goal. that was one free game because it was a very even game, but he made it look like a one-sided game. It was never a 3-0 game. I would say that game.
Well, Coach Nara says, sorry, he can only missed 1-1v1 in that game.
Still a big one. I don't know. It's still a big one.
But it's like, I mean, to call it the over Karius or Niang, I mean, that's deep, man.
Karius had a concussion, so I can't say anything about that.
Oh, okay. So Jamal, do you have one?
Yeah, worst performance was a performance by Dejan Lovren against Tottenham when he gets sub for 30 minutes. He was so bad, Klopp couldn't even trust him. Yeah, that was the worst. And the best performance, HHs, I like this one. It was Hazard versus Arsenal in the European final. Yeah, the one with Arsenal went 4-1. Yeah, Hazard ran that game from minute 1 to minute 90. He was unplayable. And I think that was his last game for Chelsea too. Yeah. What a good way to leave.
Okay. No. Look, man. Give it. Show your love to your boys, that man. Show some love for your boys, that man. All right, Stodge.
The worst performance. I don't want to even think about it. It's the only time in football where I didn't feel sorry for a player, despite what people said. Karius 2018 final. Honestly, it was the first time where I saw a player lose the final. And the first thought that popped in my head is, why are you crying on the pitch? Go to the changing room. I don't want to see your face. I mean, bro, and to add insult to injury, people are like, oh, look at Bale. He's consoling, what's his name? Karius. He basically won the guy the final. What do you mean? He's congratulating him, saying thank you. And I know that final, that's how I know that performance is so bad. Listen, at first, when the game went, I didn't care. Every time, and I think you guys should do this, every time you watch a replay of that final, right, and you see the goals this guy concedes, and you look at the first goal, where he literally looks at Benzema, they make eye contact, and he puts the ball on his foot. None of us would make that mistake.
No, basically, I was watching with my friends here, and the moment it happened, I said to my friends in the pub that is the worst goalkeeping mistake of all time.
Bro, it's so bad.
The mistake of all time.
He had a concussion.
It's so bad. Listen, I don't care about concussion.
Leave him alone, man. Leave him alone.
Bro, concussion.
Yeah, listen, apparently he's playing well for whatever team he plays for right now.
Oh no, he's not. No, he's not. His contract just got terminated. And you know what? The Besiktas fans are tweeting. You could go Google. You could go on Twitter and say this. They said this is the best news of 2020. The only good news of something like that of 2020. Listen, the guy has played like 40 games for them. Was it 50, between 40 to 50 something, and he's conceded 85 goals. They say this is the worst goalkeeper they've ever had. Anyway, going back to that goal is so bad. You know a performance is so bad, right? And you know a mistake is so big. When if you were to show a casual guy, somebody that barely knows football or watches it, and you were to show them that goal, the logical thing somebody would think is that it's match fixing. You know how bad of a mistake it has to be for it to look like match fixing. This looks like deliberate match fixing. That's how bad of a mistake it is. And then to top it off, not only did he make that mistake, the Bale shot from like 40 yards. And this guy literally, he moved his hands to the left. He pushed the ball in with his hands. Bro, I mean, is this man retarded? Even Oliver Kahn said,
Hey, don't say that.
Even Oliver Kahn, right, great German keeper, he basically said that night on the post-match, he said, this dude, his career is most likely finished. That's how, in order for your career, listen, all these performances you guys have named, none of them have finished the guy's career. The next season, this guy got booted out of Liverpool. They sent him to Besiktas, where he was the worst keeper for them as well. Just awful, man.
Can I mention also another bad performance? Gerrard versus Chelsea, the slip.
Yeah, but they were losing that game anyway.
Yeah, but it's not a bad performance. It's a bad moment. I don't think it's a bad performance. That's a horrible moment. But okay, but Crystal Storch, give us your best performance then overall.
Best performance. I think some of you guys named some. So I'm going to be different. I was going to go with Messi versus Bayern, but then I felt like they were always going to win that game, so I need something with a storyline. And I'm going to go for the goal machine. Some might call him a fox in a box, whatever. I'm going to go for Cristiano Ronaldo against Atletico Madrid.
Oh my
when
God.
Juventus, let me say, Juventus were about to get knocked out, and everybody knows Atletico Madrid. You have to give everything context. Atletico Madrid are a very pragmatic team, and the dude, he came up clutch. He scored a hat-trick, and they knocked him out. And at the final whistle, the thing that kicks it off is when you look at Ronaldo, the celebration he did, mimicking Diego Simeone. And you see the faces of the Atletico Madrid players. I mean, I've never seen a man own a team as much as this guy owns Atletico. He literally owns that football club. He's denied that football club so many titles. He's basically, when people look at Diego Simeone's career, first player that will pop in people's head is how Ronaldo has ruined this man's career.
Actually, but in fairness, the one player that truly denied Atletico Madrid glory was Sergio Ramos. Because really, that is the player that really, because again, Cristiano has just scored many winning goals against them, but even the winning goals he scored against them wasn't really a case of, okay, they could have then gone ahead, and even if the penalty scored against 2016, no, that's Ramos' goal. Bro, they were like two minutes away from glory. So that Rams goal was what literally was the dagger for them. Okay, Red Devil, give us yours, man, to round us off.
So mine a lot of what people mentioned is quite recent. So my picks actually from the beginning of the decade, just because they stood out for me at the time. Not that I'm saying these are infinitely the most best by any statistics or whatever. But the two performances actually, I think the worst actually, I don't know why this stands out to me. Because I'm not an Arsenal fan, but actually was by Laurent Koscielny. Laurent Koscielny, if people remember Arsenal versus Newcastle at St. James's Park, Arsenal were ahead 4-0 at half-time, and yet at the end of the game, somehow they managed to concede 4 goals, and they drew 4-4. And in that game, Laurent Koscielny gave away 2 penalties. And yes, Arsenal were down to I think Diaby was down to 10 men, but Newcastle didn't have superstars. They were still poor. And at this time, Arsenal weren't their Van Persie. They were still there. They weren't the mid-table team they were now. They were kind of like, they were still kind of a threat. And Laurent Koscielny had a terrible game. He had such a bad game being the captain there. It was unbelievable. But I just can't remember the last time. I'm sure it's happened. I mean, I don't know, maybe you guys know, but in like a Premier League where you've been up 4-0 at halftime and you concede 4 goals and it goes to draw. I actually can't, like 2-0, 3-0, yeah, but 4-0 and you still come away with a point after the game's over. No. That was a terrible performance for Laurent Koscielny. So that's just, for some reason, that's one of the picks that stands up as one of the worst performances of the decade. And then one of the best performances of the decade again, for me, just stood out was, even though ironically enough they lost the game, was Gareth Bale hat-trick San Siro, against Inter Milan, destroying Michael. I mean, it was even though they lost that game, that they were 4-0 and then they were 4-0 down, and for him to score that hat-trick in the way that he did, in the same position that he did, he essentially retired Maicon in that game. It was crazy, and that game really put Gareth Bale on the map as being potentially to be one of the best players in the world. But I don't know. I don't know whether it's because he scored the same goal the same way in the same.
It was wild. It was the same same spots in the same manner in the same position.
And that they were 4-0 down, and they almost thought like, whoa, they might actually come and do it. But yeah, no, I think so. Those would be my best and worst performances. So, but at the start of the decade.
You see, and before we round off, I'm going to give a special mention. So this is like a double whammy. Lucio Samuel, 2010 CL semi, down to 10 men against the Champions League holders in their home ground for the best part of about 60 or 70 minutes because what's it called? Thingy Thiago Motta got sent off. So what the defending they had to do for 60, 70 minutes with a top tier Barcelona side, I thought was flipping iconic. I thought so. What Lucio and Samuel did in that thing, I thought was so. That is for me is like a special mention, man. But guys, look, man, we've done here. It is what it is. Hope you guys have a good one. Stay true, stay real, and I will see you guys. Well, we'll see you guys tomorrow for the Sunday thingy. Before you guys, we'll see you guys next week on Saturday, guys. Peace out. Peace.
Take care.
Become a Football Hut member and gain access to cool emojis on the live streams and get access to new YouTube content by clicking the join button here. And to view that new content, head over to the YouTube channel homepage and click on the community tab over here.